Evening, folks.
Howdy, howdy.
We're back again. This is actually going to be kind of a thing for like the next 4 weeks, actually, just the way things are scheduling out, because what would be my normal scheduled stream next Saturday, we're going to have Jeff Bromschweiber in doing the Egyptian tomb art and everything like that, and painting on papyrus.
Yeah, one of the world's leading experts on the subject.
I know he's a leading expert, but he's definitely knowledgeable. He teaches classes about it, so he knows his thing about it. And then, so that stream will be taken up, and then so I'll be back the following week, and then the week after that, on October 14th, we're hoping to have Jaya back on for blowtorches, doing encaustic artwork.
And after that, the regular show, and then after that, the normal 2-week cadence.
And then,
although we'll have to check to see how EQLA fits into that.
That's in November.
Yeah, but by that point, we're already late into October. So
we'll have to look at the schedule.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah, well, this is what I do for a living. So,
there you go.
I'm not going to complain. And these folks took time out of their lives to be here tonight. So.
And to all of you folks, hi. To folks who are new, I see a couple who may be new. Welcome. There's a topics only I think we've seen, but welcome.
No, they're new.
Oh, they're new. Excellent.
They said so.
If anybody else is new, say hi. We'll say hi back.
Yep.
Anyway, that's Baron. I'm not.
Third one.
And
I draw. He does tech.
Yeah, I also mix cocktails.
Yes.
Because Baron needs brain lubricant.
Exactly.
So tonight's cocktail, just before anything else, the most important thing to get taken care of, is going to be the vodka gimlet. Now, traditionally, a gimlet is made with gin, but vodka gimlets have become very popular lately, for good reason. They're a very simple drink to make. You know, vodka, lime, and simple syrup, basically sugar. So let's make one.
Yeah.
I'm going to push this button right here.
And back in the days when it was made with gin, this would have been something the ship surgeon would have made for you if you were in the Royal Navy and were suffering from scurvy. It was a way to get you to drink your vitamin C.
It's medicine.
Yeah, that's right. It's good for you.
Exactly.
So I'm doing this to stay healthy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Damn, you're healthy.
Yep.
So
all those vitamins.
Yeah. So a little bit of ice, because we're going to be going shuka, shuka, shuka. Just take this here.
Just so that folks know, yes, we'll be doing requests. That will be after we're done with certain things. We'll give you the green light on that, and we'll give you the kind of the rules of engagement and everything like that. So just hold on that for a moment.
Yep.
While Kieran here tries not to cut his hand off.
Yeah. So juice of 1 lime.
And the blood of none of your tech support person.
I know what you were going to say, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then we take out and we go squoze. And then we chuck that into the bin. And then we take the other half of the lime and we go over here and we go squoze.
This is one step removed from a buck, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'll say buck just has 2 basic ingredients.
We have 3.
Yep. So a little splash of simple syrup, which is basically equal parts sugar and water. You know, splash. And then it's mostly vodka. Grown.
Vodka.
Old man noises. Mr. Smirnov approves.
Fresh out of the freezer. Because that's how you should keep your...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'll say vodka is best served like Russia is best served, cold. Shuka, shuka. And then we take that. Why don't you hold that there?
I can hold it for you.
And it's sort of break the seal. And there we go. There we go. And then you go. And then you sort of go pull it apart real slow. You make a V with it. And then all of a sudden, all the good stuff comes out. And that, my friends, is a noisy vodka gimlet.
Yes.
Let me dump the ice out here. There we go. That's a perfect name for a pony, vodka gimlet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to me. And I see I have 2 logos on the screen right here. So you know what I'm going to do right now before anything else?
Let's just do the pitch, get it out of the way.
We're going to do the pitch. You know, as I said,
here's the wind-up and the pitch.
1, 2, 3. We would like to take this opportunity to thank University Art for their sponsorship of Baron.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. University Art is a high-end art supplies and framing store with offices in San Jose and Redwood City and Sacramento, California. They do museum quality framing. I get all my framing done there. Indeed.
Yes, you can spend a lot of money on framing there, Jarrell.
Oh yeah. And this is framing that 100 years from now it'll still be tight and it won't have yellowed because they use acid-free components, all that good stuff. Again, they've handled original Rembrandts and Picassos and Nobel Prize awards and the whole bit. And they also have the excellent selection of art supplies and people that know how to use them. God, what a concept! People selling things that know how to use the things that they're selling. They also offer seminars, workshops, and instruction. They offer craft weekends and art shows and craft fairs. They are just a one-stop shopping for all of your serious art needs. University Art, great place. And they give him art supplies, so we say thank you to them for giving him art supplies.
They put up and employed me for 20 years, so
yeah,
that right there.
They have great patience.
Yes.
If they can put up with him for 20 years, they can put up with anybody else for at least 5 minutes.
Oh, and just so folks know, yeah, I know, Jarrell. The only problem about doing some of those ones, I ran a little bit close out to the edge on that. I need to keep that in mind for the future. And just so folks know, if you are in the San Francisco Bay Area or Sacto area, on October 14th, University Art will be having their one-day sale. That is a Saturday. Everything in the store will be at least 20% off. Many things will be far more than that. And custom framing will probably be down at least 20%, maybe 30%.
Yeah, and again, since good custom framing is not cheap, that's a lot of money. Oh yeah, Vodka Gimlet, Calvado's Slavic cousin, is approved by Boris. Okay, alrighty. So, given that this is more about art than it is about Slavic customs, there's another YouTube channel for that.
Yes.
Let's take a look at what you have been up to.
Now, it's only been 1 week, and I've been working on a fairly large commission job, which I got finished. But we do have a Patreon reward here for Jarrell. He wanted his OC Dragon Pony Hybrid, Amber. You just made it go away.
No, no.
Oh, okay.
No, not until I click OK.
Okay, yeah. All right. Sparring with Anthro Sweetie Belle. He really liked the design of Sweetie, so...
Claymore versus Halberd, best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, actually, it's a Shinova, or Shavana
yes.
A style. And we're probably going to be doing some more Patreon rewards. That combination seems to be working pretty good.
Excellent. All right.
Yes, basket hilts, do doubles, brass knuckles.
So another Patreon reward here is Mr. Blue Streak.
Yes, now this is one I worked on actually last week, but I find, doing scans at home on the computer, folks can get a better idea of what I was working on during the show. So this is Blue Streak. This is for Goldfur, one of his characters.
All right, so we also we'll save the other Patreon reward for last.
Okay.
But here's a different Patreon reward. This is...
this was Rebel Squirrels. Piece I did.
Why are you in the middle? I know why you're in the middle. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's Natalia.
Yeah, that's Natalia.
Yeah.
And hi, I'm over here.
Yeah. So that's one that needs to be centered. Let's see. We also have... Okay, now we're getting into your dreamscape here. Good advice is to not annoy the friend of a princess.
More importantly, call her a liar in front of a whole bunch of folks when you have nothing to support that claim with. And Diamond Tiara basically called into question Luna's friendship with Apple Bloom and Apple Bloom's relationship with Luna. And, Apple Bloom had written the princess a letter saying, I'm going to be doing this presentation on Friday. You're not required to be there, but if you can show up, that really would be great. And she did just in time to basically hear Diamond Tiara basically giving a whole load of crap and grief to Apple Bloom and basically put her in her place.
Yeah. Actually, we missed one Patreon reward from last week, so I'm going to put that in right now. Bam.
Yes, this was for Clear Skies. He's not in the stream, it looks like. And this was of an anthropomorphic Octavia with a P90 PDW having her day at the beach disturbed.
Yeah. So where did she keep it? In the picnic basket, of course.
That's right.
All right. Now this has a bit of a story here.
Yes. This is going to be part of a dreamscape that's going to run for a little while. And it deals with Twilight starting to have certain dreams about her mentor and teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ones that the rest of us have. Yeah, so...
And it just so happens in this case, actually in several of these dreams, another pony is going to appear. And yeah, probably not thinking G-rated thoughts.
it's patina. Yeah, and of course, this has, with Twilight, has predictable results.
Yes.
Yeah. What was that kind of dream? A nightmare?
Yeah.
Right. So actually, you did another piece this week, a nice color piece. Mm-hmm. Okay, does that one need to be? Why are you not centered? I will figure that out later.
Yes. This is, of course, the CMC from the Rainbow Rocks. I did this as a commission for Sunny. And this was a very interesting piece. One, I have not actually done any color work of any Equestria Girls stuff. And so it was the first go for me on that. The other thing was, when I was in art school, our teachers always used to tell us it wasn't over until it was over. And this was a classic case of it. I had literally finished a piece, had signed it, and I was running my dry erasing cleaning pad over the working surface. I've done this hundreds of times. It's a routine part of the process, last step you do before you put the clear coat on. And if you were to look basically to the left of Scootaloo, you can't see it here in the scan because the way I did it disappears in the scan altogether. It's a little more visible in real life, but once Sunny gets it underneath the frame, put some glass, it'll really be quite invisible. About the size of a quarter, there was a flaw in the Bristol, and it basically just lifted and came right off.
The 2 layers delaminated.
Yes, and so I suddenly had 2 layers, 1 layer. That was darker, lighter, darker in areas, lighter in others. It looked horrible. I'm going, oh cripes, what am I going to do? So I had some gouache mixed up anyways for doing white highlights, and over the next like 2 hours waiting for sections to dry, I carefully brushed on pigment until I could more or less rebuild something up to about the same thickness as the rest of the paper so it scanned correctly, or else I would have had this horrible dark off mark.
Yep. So again, see, some of the best artists in the world actually ended up temporarily in possession of a Michael Whelan cover for The Pride of Shanur. And it had all kinds of, oh, the artist covered that up here, you know, when you look at it real close. But that's the way it works.
Yep. As one of my instructors in college put, you know, the mark of a professional is being not delivering when everything goes right, but delivering when things go wrong.
Yep. And, oh, there was one last thing that was drawn last week.
Yeah,
what was that?
Yeah,
what was that?
Was it? People were talking an awful lot about it. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, wait, what? Yeah. No, this was actually a Patreon reward for myself, but I decided let's do something for you guys, because everyone knows that patina sometimes crosses the line. And yes, well, a couple of nice handprints on the butt later, you know. Now, and in this case, the punishment for patina is not that she's getting her her backside swatted. Her backside is no stranger to that.
Nope.
It's that Celestia is treating her as a spoiled child instead of as an adult, and that's the real punishment. You know, oh, I temporarily lost the respect of this person. You know, yeah, and that's the surprise there. That's the punishment. It's not the sting on the butt. Hey, some people pay extra for that.
Yep.
You know, it's the oh wait, she's actually mad at me.
Yeah, especially because since Celestia is on her bucket list of ponies she'd like to spend the night with.
Yeah, well,
all the royal sisters.
There you go. Collect them all. It's Princess Mom. I'm going to have to collect them all.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop, there we go. Whoop, there we go.
Bunk.
And then we go here, and then I say bang. There we go.
All right. So that's the artwork that I've gotten done the last 7 days. There's some other stuff, but it's all really, really rough thumbnail stuff. I'm not going to bother you guys with that kind of junk. There is actually one thing I would like to mention before we go any further this evening, and that is we'd like to do kind of a little public service announcement.
Public service.
Public service, that's right. There is a lady, in fact, she's going to be at EQLA in November. Mary Bellamy, you might recognize that name. She is one of the cover artists for IDW's My Little Pony. She does some of the alternate covers. She's done about, at least easy half dozen covers, and she did this year's San Diego Comic-Con. I believe she did was a special alternate cover. She did that. The reason why we're bringing this up is that Mary Bellamy has basically a GoFundMe right now. She, being a comic book artist, it's not a way to get rich. You live, even if you're working for a big company like IEW, you live paycheck to paycheck sometimes. And if an unexpected bill comes along and hits you, it can be kind of hard. So Mary Bellamy has a GoFundMe right now because she has car problems. And her mom basically drives her vehicle to get to work where she is a nurse. So it's kind of important her mom gets there because she can help other people. And she needs to get new head gaskets. And labor and everything like that is outside of her price range. So do we have the...
I think it's queued up below. If Mr. Catspaw could put up the say the link to the Mary Bellamy GoFundMe. I think I had it open on another tab in the browser that that Catspaw monitors in.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you folks could send her say a few bucks to there you go.
Thank you, Catspaw.
Right, to say to help her out on this. Again, it was with a blown head gasket. The car made the little flashy light that says "Don't drive me."
And she did the right thing.
She turned it off there because you only overheat aluminum cylinder heads once, and then it becomes $7,000 instead of $2,000. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do not loan your car to some people that ignore lights.
Yes. So, and also too, if you can kind of share it on social media and everything like that, signal boost it, help her get pointed in the right direction, so we can get her back on the road. She's an individual who's had a lot of adversity in her life. When Smudge first met her, she was permanently, basically bound in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. And she did what she had to do and went through and did all the very, very painful physical therapy and everything. And now she walks.
Nice.
So she's not a quitter. So,
so all right. So we got her back.
Yeah, get her back. Yeah. So
that being said,
public service. Now, the reason why you guys all tuned in here tonight, not to watch me drink and not to hear me do public service announcements and stuff like that, or show you old artwork.
Old man stories.
Old man stories. That's right. Now, you guys are here tonight because I'm going to do a request stream, and that means you guys can get a chance to request. Now, there are a few rules about this.
Rule the first. Do not ask for your OC. That's called a commission.
If you're interested in a commission, contact me after the stream. Don't talk to me in the stream. I won't be able to keep track of things. I won't be able to give you any kind of coherent answer. Talk to me afterwards. We can talk business.
All right. Rule the second. Safe for work, or at least on this side of suggestion.
Safe for work, yes.
Yeah, let me put it this way. You saw what we put up earlier about the...
Nothing more than that.
Right. Rule the third. If you don't get your, say, your wish, be a good sport. And rule the fourth. This doesn't mean that you get the artwork for free. He has done Baron has done a request for you. That doesn't mean he has done a commission for you. So, if you really want to, pick up the art afterwards, talk to him afterwards, and and you can work out all that good stuff. But don't assume.
Right. Exactly. And also, too, think about something I can do in about an hour. Don't say, oh, yeah, I want this thing with 15 characters and a complicated background. It isn't going to happen.
All right. So are we ready on the request? On the requests? One, two, three, go. Well, nothing impossible. You got it right. But Lego. Lego. All right. Let's see what we got. Armored Wonderbolts.
Okay.
Shetland pony on the porch of a hobbit hole smoking a pipe. Ooh, that's kind of nice.
Okay. Also, too, just so folks know, I'm willing to do the main focus of last week's episode, as long as we don't talk about the plot.
Well, talk about the story. Yeah,
the story.
You can't talk about the story. You can talk about that plot.
Yes, you can talk about that plot. But
yeah, Luna as a Chicago gangster.
Okay.
Jessica Knight meeting Rosemary Parker. Spike as Humdrum. Zecora as an actual evil enchantress. Or as a fantasy druid.
Celestia in a banana costume.
Because we have a second for true evil enchantress Zecora. Your main... there you go. Yeah, they go. Yeah, patina on a LAPD spinner. Okay. World War II nose art with Applejack zombie lawn gnomes. Okay, fine. Celesta in a banana costume. Okay, fine. Anything Octavia. From Octavia. Celestia is drawn by Dave Berg. Oh boy. Made Pinkie Pie Fluttershy watching Watership Down. Oh boy.
Yes.
Twilight in the Twilarina. I like that.
Okay.
That was heartachingly cute.
Yes.
Rosemary cosplaying as Tarna from Heavy Metal. We had a Heavy Muffin a while back.
Yes.
Fox McCloud, Apple Bloom as Warforged. Okay. Yeah, there's the thank you.
Again?
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, we say Windows just tried to reboot the encoding computer. No, Streety Bell roasting a marshmallow, not radio, not rarity.
And they're gangster. Luna.
Compromising picture of Patina. The cat.
Well, last week wasn't compromising enough for you guys.
Well, by her standards. Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for Gangster Luna.
Psychiatrist Luna, Punker Sweetie Belle, Celestia Tower. More World War II nose art, this time of Luna. Nose art of Razor Blade. We got a lot of nose art.
Yeah.
Twilight fumbling with a weapon arrow. What do you think?
I think I'm leaning towards Gangster Luna. I did Gangsta Octavia during the last request.
Oh, with the zoot suit.
Mm-hmm. Now.
And the Tommy gun.
Anthro or Show.
Well, I will always almost always vote for Show, but I think Anthro may work a little better for the zoot.
Yeah, I think
still
so too.
Would be a challenge. Anthro. Okay, I think we have a consensus.
Okay.
So we're going to have Gangster Anthro Luna.
Yes.
With the zoot suit and the Tommy gun.
Well, I'm wondering about Tommy gun.
Yeah, or maybe
maybe
the pearl-handled 1911.
Yeah, maybe. Those are also, for lack of a better word, done. Yeah, and people know me when it comes to firearms. I love doing something a little more esoteric.
Yeah, there you go. Broom-handled Mauser 96.
Possible. Still kind of. By the way, how am I sound-wise?
Yeah, anthropoid. Arthro. What? No, arthropod.
Yeah.
Spider Luna. Okay, there you go.
Let's see here. If I do a Thompson, I'm definitely going to want to do a classic when I have the full drum and everything like that.
Boom, 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 boom.
Give it the cuts compensator. Give it the lineman's rear sight.
Mit the rat-tat-tat-tat.
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. If we want that to go that way, I want to go there. We go.
Okay. Am I in camera, by the way?
You are centered.
Okay, good. That's what we want to know. Okay.
All right. My Little Pony refrigerator logic. Does today's episode mean I have no idea? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we have not seen the episode, and we're trying not to be spoilers.
Yep, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah, and by the way, the plot synopsis for the season closer has been announced. No spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's with the Browning automatic rifle. All going all Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
that would be it. Celestia and Luna as Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, when I did Octavia, I gave her the. So I don't know if I do that. And at that point, I might be tempted to do something like the Remington 11. Do Bonnie's Remington 11 as. Save it. Thank you. Oh, that's not what you do. Save image. Come on, iPad. Thank you. OS 11 is being a little bit weird at sometimes. Still getting familiar with it. Okay, that should be enough angles that I've got my build up for.
Reference.
Yeah, well, it's always good. Even if you're not going to draw it from the angle in the picture, it's a good idea to grab reference from several different locations. That way, when you're looking at it, does that really curve the way I think it does? Let me look at the reference. Why, yes, it does. Okay, good. No, go away. All right. There we go. Okay, so.
Yeah, there you go. Luna as portrayed by Joe Pesci.
Okay, how do I want to handle this?
And of course, it's always the basic shotgun.
Yep. It's always a shotgun. You can always go with the shotgun.
Ithaca 37.
I'd say
glass smooth action.
I would, like I said, I'd probably go with the Remington 11 and do like what Bonnie did, nub the barrel and shorten the stock. Give it like how it was. Bonnie had 20 gauge when she was killed by Frank Hammer.
Yeah, I think it was a Ithaca Whippet, if I remember right.
No, it was a Browning.
Oh, Browning?
No, sorry, it was Browning automatic, but Remington licensed 11 semi-auto.
So basically the with an A5.
A5. Yep, A5. You got it.
Yeah, let's see what else we got here. Plot synopsis for season ender. Bronies storm the Hasbro headquarters and stages sit-in until they promise a season 9, 10, 11, and 12.
It's going to be, season 8 may be our last year. But really, to think that this went 8 seasons is just simply amazing. When they were uncertain whether they were going to get season 2. Back in 20.
Then knowing the writers, they'd win. Oh yeah. Yeah. Some of them can get a little. Well, this way, they know how to say no.
Yeah.
No love for the Colt 1911. Well, again, this is more iconic.
And also, too, 1911 is the backup.
Yep.
Uses the same ammo as the Thompson, so you can you can share ammunition. No problem.
Okay. How long do you think it will take before G5? Well, that depends on how well the toys sell, doesn't it?
Yep.
Hand.
And that's also why, like, on October 5th, or 6th, excuse me, I want to go see the movie because I want to see it in the theater so that I can give my support.
Indeed. Yeah, again, make Hasbro glad they did it.
Mm-hmm. I am bummed. Apparently, Pixar is going to be coming out with a film this autumn, which means that competing for the Oscar for Best Animated Film is going to be a tough. Because Pixar is Disney, and Disney usually gets the Oscar.
Well, Pixar usually deserves it.
Yeah.
Although Coraline was came out of nowhere and got Best Animated.
Yeah, that's why I still hold out hope for MLP. If it's a good movie, and I have faith in the DHX people.
Yep.
Megan McCarthy's on the watch. She's one of the writers.
Yeah, and of course MK Toon himself is the producer.
Yeah, and he's a cool dude.
Oh, he is amazing. Yeah. I hope they can get him for EQLA. I mean, it's practically in his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in, I believe, North Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So Hasbro has a big office set up there. It's all about intellectual property development and that kind of thing. And that's what he is VP of.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
There's a lot. I'm left to understanding an awful lot of why the Brony fandom has been allowed to do what it does with the property is because of him basically saying, no, let's see where this goes.
Put down the lawyers and back away slowly.
Yes, so... Okay. So I got the basic body in. And in this case, I left about a 1/4 inch at the bottom here, so unlike some of those ones I did where Jarrell was saying he was up at...
You're going to have to do floating frame style.
Yeah, or they have to do extensions, they have to put tabs on the bottom. My bad. I'm usually better than that.
Well, Fluttershy uses extensions. So.
Yeah. Fluttershy has tail extensions. Actually, shift that over a little bit. Let's see here. Her line's going to come out to here. Basically, I'm trying to make sure I get her muzzle properly.
I'm going to make a slight adjustment to that camera.
Okay.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I will do.
See, this is the beauty about having, basically a technical person here on site, is I don't have to stop and fix things. I can just keep on drawing, which is what I'm going to do.
You want to get our hoosies.
Yeah, it's a...
Wow, you pounded right through that gimlet, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Is that a hint?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. Maybe once another. Maybe.
Hey, bartender. Make me another.
Bang, you're another. Alrighty, so for that I will need I will need more ice.
And more noise.
Indeed. Mostly it's the noises that tell you that something nice is about to happen. I will carefully set that there. And then I will need another line. Oh, where's my gun? There it is.
Yeah, if there's one thing about cocktail making, do not skimp on your citrus.
Yeah, that citrus needs to be to either be fresh, squeeze right in, or in the case of limes, sometimes 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because they start to oxidize as soon as the squeeze is squoze. And sometimes you want that, usually you don't.
Yep. I mean, I've been told that even more so than, should I use uber top shelf liquors in my drink, or should I use better quality juices, use better quality juices?
Yep, always go for the fresh citrus. It will reward you disproportionately.
Because quite often, you can get by with a okay to good bourbon. It doesn't have to be something exceptional. 'Cause if you're not sipping it straight,
yeah, I mean, if it's a mixer, that does give you a little bit of liberty.
yes.
You can, maybe go from the Grey Goose to the let's say to the New Amsterdam and get away with it, and then put your budget into fresh fruit instead.
Oh, and good quality ice too. Don't skip on your ice.
Oh yes, keep the ice clean. By that I mean, if you can do ice with something other than tap water, that'd be great. If you can do, also keep your ice fresh, because if it will pick up various smells and flavors that you don't want in the freezer.
And didn't you have a case a couple years ago where one of your roommates put?
Here you go.
Thank you very much.
Baron's not driving.
Yeah.
That's what cat's paw's for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's one of the many things cat's paw's for.
Yes.
He's for that. He's for moderation. He's for fonts. Here we go. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, say don't spoil the newest episode's plot. Yeah, please don't. Let's see. Let's see.
Zootsuits have very long tails to them. They're very long coats.
Nothing impossible. So being funny here is that reminded me. I actually decided to finally try an episode of the show. Oh, you hadn't before? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I watched first and found that you actually enjoyed it far more than you thought you would. That's because it's beautifully well written by somebody who respects you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is a fellow who does nothing but React videos. I mean, that's just it's all React videos all the time. He goes by Smurf Vlog, and he's a fellow with like dreadlocks down to his halfway down his chest. Got the whole hoodie thing going on, very street.
Mm-hmm. Very Bob Marley.
Very Bob Marley, and he was doing reacts to anime and stuff like that, and then people kept saying, "God, you gotta do Pony, you gotta do Pony." He's like, "My Little Pony, what the hell are you talking about?" And they said, "Okay, fine, I will blind react to My Little Pony Season 1, Episode 1. He has become so hooked. Mm-hmm. He's been doing blind reacts, and his most recent one was all of Season 4.
Really?
It was like a 5-hour marathon. Something like a 5 or 6 hour marathon, or it was all the second half of Season 4.
Mm-hmm.
First half of Season 4. 1 through 13. Yeah, he isn't to Tyrek yet. And it is so funny to watch this guy that his entire thing is again all about keeping it real and on the streets, getting completely taken over by. It's great. It's great. That's one thing. That's why I like blind reacts, particularly to the old episodes, is that you can see them through new eyes once again, through these people's eyes. It sort of rekindles the magic a little bit.
Yeah. Then you remember what it was like when you saw it.
Yep. Have you changed your glasses, by the way?
No, I haven't. Thank you very much.
Going to put you over Celestia's lap.
Hey, dink dink.
Yeah.
Pop. 3 points, whoever in the stream.
That was generic.
Thank you, generic.
Yeah. There's a question: what gun best describes each pony? Yeah. Twilight. Nerf. It's a Fluttershy. Cork. Yeah. And then she would apologize for popping you with a cork.
Yeah, I guess, because I guess Korspiki already has a confetti cannon, so.
Yeah. Well, again, she would either be a Colibri or you know, like a minigun, you know, when she's in Pinkamena mode.
Yeah.
Of course, Applejack is a pump action 12 gauge, probably a Remington 870.
Or a Mossberg 500.
Yeah. Let's see, rarity. She would be a custom house 911 with pearl handle grips. Let's see, that would leave Rainbow Dash. She'd probably be an M4.
M4 with an M203 underneath it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have a grenade launcher.
Yep. Surprised none of the Terminator movies had honorable hip firing and mod is. Well, a little bit of trivia for you in the movie Predator, which had Arnie and Carl Weathers and Jesse Ventura, you know, aka Sergeant Slaughter. The rig that Jesse Ventura was firing, which is basically a minigun on a you know, body harness with a backpack for feeding ammo, actually exists. Israel made several of them for crowd control. They have an interesting idea of crowd control, but that was a real thing, the real deal. And yeah, you can rent stuff like that from the Israeli military. Hell, they'll rent you an F-16 and paint it any color you want. You know, so.
But boy, the insurance, if you get any scratches on it, probably pretty.
Well, no, they're pilot. Thank you very much. But yeah, if anybody would be hip firing.
Hang on, is Smudge in the stream?
Do we see a smudge?
I
see a smudge dragon.
A smudge dragon?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey!
Everybody make faces at Smudge.
Hey, Smudge! Can you hear us? Looky, looky. Chime in.
As long as I'm looking, hey, I think I see somebody else new. Pesky Batfish, are you new? If so, welcome. If not, welcome back. Can you see anybody else that's new?
See, the whole thing is, if anyone's new here,
say something so we can say something back. Green Tark, are you new, Green Tark? If so,
if that's Smudge, Smudge is my wife. So if that's, you know,
keeping him honest.
Yeah.
This is not his 7th vodka gimlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, who else we got here? Otter Pony.
Otter Pony's been here for.
Okay, well, in that case, welcome back. Yeah. Let's see here. Here's a Pesky is newer than a pie fresh out of the oven.
So, sorry, folks, gonna take a moment. This is gonna get a skosh bit domestic here. Besides the horrible fact that Pita Pit closed, how will our lives go on? How was Ape? This weekend is the Alternative Press Exposition in San Jose, and my wife decided to go down today and take a look around since she works in the comic book industry. Would like to work in it even more.
Yeah. Hint to those of you that have comic books and are looking for a professional artist to make them.
Or in fact, you know, she's got her own stuff there too. In fact, we have just started putting up Hand of a Dragon up on the Smudge Marks and Inkleworks eShop. You can now download as a PDF.
Which you should do.
Yes, which you should do. It's a very good story.
Yeah. Yeah. She is mayor of the stable. Well, she is the princess of the stable. She is the one that ensured that Baron understood how equine anatomy works and why it's not the same as dog anatomy. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it is weird.
Nope. Reason why my figures, if folks remember me from 20 years ago and they look at my figure work today and they say, how your work's really gotten good. Well, part of it is lots and lots of practice.
And lots of supervision.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they say Smudge. Smudge is an avid rider. You know, when she can get the time to go out and ride on the horses.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And she, I think this lead is about ready to die on me. It is dying, so I'm gonna change it up. There.
So there.
You can feel on a mechanical pencil when you're just at the very end of the lead.
Yeah. So Smudge says that Ape was, how can we do cons now that Pita Pit is gone?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Ape was interesting. Lots more local underground guys this year. Yeah, that's actually something that, I don't know if you folks remember Invader Zim. John Vasquez. Before that, he did an underground comic that was well received called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So he used to live apparently about a mile from, say, from where we did over at, when we were back at Camden Oaks.
Yeah. And he used to come in the store fairly
Yeah.
often. I helped him on several occasions of art supplies.
Yeah, I used to see, you know, like his father drove a car with a custom license plate that said Zim Dad. So yeah, San Jose does definitely have a comic scene. Tofu, say we may have just missed it as it flew by. Save it and try again in the second hour.
Yeah.
Which is a reminder for actually for new folks. Every hour on the half hour, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, we will take a 5-minute break so that you can refresh your drinks or get rid of the one you already have, so that the artist can stretch.
Yep, stretch, move around.
Hand. And in general, just take a break because this is a 4-hour marathon. We do this, Baron does this every other week. And actually for the next few weeks, it's going to be every week for guest reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Of which I did send off the information to Sebastian at Picardo about the stream next week, so he has that info more than a week in advance, so he has time because he said he wanted to have that.
Yep. Getting a Michael Jackson vibe there. Well, again, that is as should be.
Yes.
Luna, are you okay?
Besides,
you okay?
Luna? Who could possibly do the moon dance better?
The moonwalk, yeah.
The moonwalk than Luna.
The telekinesis just hover backwards.
Yes, exactly. Okay, now we're.
Thou hast been struck by a charismatic delinquent.
Okay, now we're gonna start. Now it may seem kind of funny that it's like, oh, gee, I kind of put a line here roughly where I want the Thompson to be. I'm gonna very loosely block in. A lot of people don't realize how big Thompsons are, actually. They're very large for submachine guns. Of course, they were first generation equipment, very
they still had some bugs to work out.
Well, they had some bugs, and also very, very expensive. Ian on Forgotten Weapons has done some videos where he's cited costs of Thompson submachine guns, and you could get like full-fledged Browning M19 squad, here you put on tripod machine guns for less than the cost of one Thompson. They were not cheap. That's the reason why, while they're such an iconic weapon from the 1920s, actually...
They were spendy.
They were spendy, and a lot of people actually did not use them because they could not afford them. That's why a lot of criminal organizations actually went to the trouble of raiding police stations that did have them, so that they could add them to their arsenal because they just simply couldn't afford to buy them. They were so pricey. So we saw an awful lot more like Remington No. 8 police rifles and, semi-automatic shotguns and, all kinds of other stuff. Camera rolls being a little bit...
Better question is who moonwalks better, Luna or Michelle Krieber in those videos with Black Griffin?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to believe Animated James, probably Michelle Krieber. But yeah, Black Griffin and Michelle Krieber are both very talented dancers. I would give the edge to Black Griffin, because again, he is just so athletic.
Considering for a guy who's broken his leg twice, badly.
Yeah, both times from falling out of airplanes.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually washed out of SEAL training because of that injury. I mean, when he came into SEAL training, he was apparently doing fairly well, and but he had broken his leg once before in a parachuting accident, and then he broke it in the same spot again, and then so the Navy basically said, "Okay, you got a weak spot there. We can't have that. Very sorry." So instead, he went into the Navy band because that was a fast track for promotions. He was actually this close to being the youngest E6 in the history of the Navy, because that's a sort of a mandatory rank that comes with lead singer of the U.S. Navy band at Annapolis. And he missed out on that because of budget cuts. They did not extend the position.
Oh.
And that's when he said, okay, fine, done with the Navy.
Mm-hmm. You know, you've served your country. Thank you very much.
And the thing is that the Navy musicians, oh, you're just a musician. No, they're also damage control.
Yeah.
And that's what the real training is in the Navy. Is if you're not something else, you're damage control, and damage control is what you live and die by.
Yeah, they're the guys get sent down to the areas where it's like going, if we don't solve this problem, they're not going to let us back out.
And who's renting time behind the trigger of 1919s? You okay? That's actually a Thomas gun.
Yeah.
And that's Luna. This is an all request night, and the request was for Luna as a gangster.
Yep. And this, to be specific, this is a 1921 Colt variant I'm doing, even though I am looking at a 1928 for a few elements, but I know what I need to change and swap around to get things back to the right.
On just a time check, you have 10 minutes.
Yes, I'm not. This will not be something I'll be able to finish now. I'll be able to get this blocked in, and like I did last week on some of these, I'll come back and finish these up later. Yeah, they ran the same style of rear sight on those bad boys, but they had a different. Different cocking knob. So I just need to remember to swap my cocking knob out from a 21. There we go. Yeah, the guy goes around.
Yeah, a Thomas the Tank Engine gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Michelle has a new album.
Yes.
Yeah, so go get you some.
I hope they're going to be at EQLA.
Yeah. Actually, I know that Black Griffin is.
Okay, good. Because that way I can give them that piece I did ages ago.
Cora, there's generics like a Thomas Tank Engine gun. It's like, does that mean that it shoots people?
Bumps. Okay, I'm going to turn this sideways again. I want to look at this at the moment. Yep, that drum's offline. Sometimes if you're working on a piece and you're going, something just doesn't feel quite right, something feels wrong, take a moment and look at it from a different angle. I need to straighten out this drum some.
Click, click. This is what happens when you put your keyboard on your keyboard. It pushes your buttons.
Did your keyboard get
it started doing random things.
Oh well, we can't have that.
Why does it say user 55 when I want perform number 21? Here we go, which is drone and pipe. So that I can do this.
And actually looking at this from this angle, I need to move this grip forward just a skosh. That grip is not quite at the right location, but we will fix that. One of the things when you're working on a piece is never be afraid to admit to yourself that, hey, I made a mistake, I need to go back and fix something. That's why I'm not tightening anything up or worrying about any kind of shading or anything at this point. I'm just trying to get the basic shape in. Down a little more. Bring that in. Okay, set that in place. Boop-a-dup-a-doo. Is that gun barrel going right? I need to straighten out that gun barrel, so let's tweak that gun barrel here a bit, and then we'll go get Luna's eyeballs in. Because I got 8 minutes. I need to extend that compensator out a little more too. So, like I say, they're actually big. If you look at a Thompson submachine gun and you compare it with, say, an equivalent period U.S. military weapon, like say a Springfield 1903 rifle,
they're massive.
Big. They're big. They're massive. They weigh about 12 pounds. You know, especially if you got one of the big drums like we've got on this thing here, one of the 50-round drums. And they made 100-round drums, which must have weighed even more.
Tommy was upset. That makes me angry, he said. Tommy frowned so hard his forehead is the entrance to the abyss. Now, Oh, you just missed it, Mad Badger. Have you ever been almost been done with a piece when you found you needed to fix the piece? Well, that was the subject of a discussion at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Yes, what happens when just before you apply the fixative, you discover that your Bristol board wants to delaminate in one spot?
And does.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I said all kinds of. It was a good thing my wife was asleep at the time. James was off at work, and Dave was cat's paw was in the other room with his earbuds on, so he didn't hear some of the amazing things I said that my mother would have stuck a bar of soap in my mouth if she had heard it.
Yeah, the dietary intake of soap.
Yes.
As opposed to the Chicago piano, which was the 2-pounder pom-pom. The 1.1-inch machine cannon.
Yeah, Ian on Forgotten Weapons does a very good video on a late 19th century, early 20th century Vickers pom-pom that came up for auction about a year and a half ago. It's very interesting reading about some of the little details. I'm going to do that nostril over.
Yep.
Right there.
Got about 5 minutes.
Yep.
As into the window he did come indeed, she received the final aggressive stroke. Alas, 'twas her doom. This isn't WoW where you can just blame the rogues or the hunters and be right most of the time. Okay, now,
or hunter pets. Hunter pets.
Yeah, there you go. Now you get a WoW story. Set your time machine back to World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King, the second expansion. I believe it was about 2007. Best expansion, by the way. Everybody likes to make fun of hunters because hunters are pretty easy to solo with. You know, you just tell your pet to go soak up the damage while you sit there and go pew pew. The problem is that with hunter pets is that if you don't control them, particularly in a dungeon or a raid, they will wander off somewhere and bring back a whole train of monsters with them.
Look at the thing I found.
Yeah, exactly. I found something. Thus incurring the wrath of your fellow party members.
And a party wipe.
Yeah, as they slog back from the land of the dead. Or as the spirit healer says, you again? But I ended up in a small guild with the best tank that I have ever found in a group. Which, by the way, there's another old man story to go with that after the break. One of those small world things. But there was a hunter. I tend to play healers, and there was a hunter named and she was awesome. I mean, I knew with absolute certainty that if a monster broke free because of healer aggro or something like that, the pet would pick it up, and I would never even take a hit, even in running through on raids and stuff like that. She had my back, and she was just awesome. Back at the time, everybody was going. There was a stat called spell power, and everybody was maxing that. I maxed out spirit as my stat instead. That's the one that causes recharge of your mana, and I never ever ran out of mana. Anytime I get close, I would just hit Innervate, which recharges your mana. You can only do it once every 10 minutes. But, or at least back then you could only do it once every 10 minutes, but my mana would go down so slowly because of my recharge rate, it lasted me that full 10 minutes.
Well, beats choking down some bread or slogging back some water.
Well, you can't do that in combat.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
Not in the middle of combat. And you get into these big boss fights that can drag on and on and on, and they're designed to wear down your resources slowly, so it's as much a game of resource management as it is anything. But I never ran out of mana because I said, okay, I'm not going to go for that last 5% of healing potential. Instead, I want to be able to heal forever and keep the slow heal over times on my entire group and never have to worry about it. But yeah, she was an awesome hunter. She was the one that basically put paid to all that thing about, oh, hunters are always awful. No, they're just usually awful. So yeah, Aramina, we love you.
Put some little crescent moons on her tie.
Yeah. Ah, there we go. The American 180 22 long rifle submachine gun, the Swarm of Angry Bees.
Yes.
Yes, had a top feeding drum. It was like a little tiny Lewis gun. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once again, Ian did a great video for James Julia earlier this year where they actually let him go out and fire one of those things. Long of a Trejo Model 122 caliber machine pistol. Smallest machine pistol in the world. It has an 8-round magazine, and you just dump it, and it goes away. He says it's the only thing it's really good for is making you giggle like an idiot.
We are just about there.
So. Yeah, we are about 2 minutes. So I just want to put a few things I want to get our eyes in. Want to get a few things blocked in. Got that done. I'll probably finish shading this up tomorrow. Let's see if I can get a.
And then it will go up on Smudge Marks and
Yes,
the Works for your purchasing pleasure.
Yeah, if you see something during one of these streams that's like this and it's not like a Patreon reward, unless this is for a client commission or a patron reward, all of this stuff is fair game. So if you see something like, oh, wow, man, I really would love to have that. Searching for newcomers, understand, this is what I do for a living. I don't have a day job. I don't go to work in an office or something like that during the week.
You are at your day job.
Yeah. That's the reason why I don't mind doing all these weeks back-to-back streaming, because this is basically me repaying my thanks to all my clients and patrons on Patreon. We'll deal with that after the... Okay, why don't we switch out camera here? All right.
God, I love this thing. This thing is here we go. Stream Deck. You can stream, get you a Stream Deck. Oh, this is so awesome.
If you haven't noticed, he likes
a little bit. It's okay.
It's a little. It's all right.
No, actually, the support application is still a little bit flaky in places, but God, it makes streaming so easy. You know, if you're if you use OBS or XSplit, you have all the different scenes. You just assign one to each button, and it makes a little picture of the scene. And you know, and you can control your microphones. You can turn your cameras off and on. Oh, that's great.
By the way, Jarrell, 1/4 inch from the bottom, I did that on purpose. They need 1/8 of an inch to be able to hold a picture in when they mat it.
So there.
So, to all you people out there, possibly Mike or Jeff at University Art, I thought about that. So,
all right.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Do we have a new person popping in here? Zenny?
Hey, Zenny.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Zenny is new or not, but if you are new, welcome.
Back.
You're just in time for a 5-minute intermission.
And we'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll be doing another request.
All right, so get your requests ready, but don't say them yet.
Yeah, don't say them yet.
Wait for the starting gun.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, beep, intermission.
Intermission. See you in 5.
Welcome back.
I like that comment, Sylvan. That sounds like a derpy thing.
When life gives you lemons, make a chocolate cake and leave them wondering how you done it.
Yep.
All right, I think I'm gonna grab this right here. I think we have a couple of new folks here.
Yes.
I'm going to go up here and looking down the list. Let's see. Failed Art, are you new here? If so, welcome. If not, welcome back. Let's see. There was at least, I think, one other. The Beck Maninator. I think we've seen Beck Maninator before.
I think they're here. They've been here before. So welcome back.
Either way. And Ziba.
Welcome.
Hi, Zzz.
If you're kind of wondering sometimes, you know, and I think pesky batfish.
Yeah, we said hi to Pesky, but we'll say hi again. Hi, Pesky.
Hi, Pesky.
All right.
Yeah, if you kind of wonder sometimes, they're going, well, don't you remember whether who's been here or not?
There's a bunch of you guys.
Back in the early days, it was easy to keep track of you guys. I just passed 570 followers on Picardo, so.
But you're all special.
Yeah, and we want.
But my bus is shorter than yours.
Yeah, and we want to thank all you guys for taking your time out on your Saturday night to tune in and watch me basically make graphite pencil marks all over pieces of paper.
Yep.
All right, so we are now on to the second hour, and
Indeed.
It is time for me to finish off my gimlet.
Yeah. Smudge says to tell me that Blanc misses Gottfaust. Gottfaust was my Tauren in Paladin in the guild that we were in for a while, together for a while.
Fickle Muse.
Order of the Fickle Muse. So he was my moo cow.
Yeah.
I play moo cows. Alrighty.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what it's time for?
Let's get that out of the way because we have to do it on the hour
Indeed.
every hour.
It's time for me to reach over here, and I need to make that a
We're going to
separate.
make this thing down here go away and make something else come into view.
I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, bang.
Bam.
1, 2, 3, bang. We want to say thank you to University Art for sponsoring Baron. University Art is a high-end art supplies store. There you go.
Go away.
Countdown to goodness. We're going to do the update. Scheduled at 6:53 p.m. No. Windows is really insistent. Restart. Pick a time. It says pick a day. Tomorrow. Okay, fine. Oh, Windows.
Well, but just so you know, we are not sponsored by
Microsoft.
Soft.
No, not even close. But we are sponsored by University Art.
Yes.
High-end art supplies. Museum quality framing. By that I mean, materials and workmanship.
Archival.
Right. That 100 years from now, it's still going to be pristine. High-end art instruction, seminars, workshops, arts and crafts fairs. They've got it all. They had Baron for 20 years. They will occasionally even loan us their employees, like we're going to be borrowing one next week.
And then 2 weeks after that, we're going
Borrowing
to
another.
Well, no, actually, I believe Jaya is no longer working for University Art. She is now working full-time as an encaustic artist and instructor.
Outstanding. All right. So anyway, we do want to say thank you to University Art, San Jose, Redwood City.
I'll change the glasses, Battle Axe, when the time comes.
Indeed. And Sacramento.
Sacramento, yes.
Okay, I got to squeeze it in. Okay, we're done now. Our duty is done. Hi,
yes.
Mike.
Hi.
Mike's their manager.
Hi, Jeff. If you happen to be lurking, sometimes my old former manager and assistant manager will lurk on the streams.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
All righty. So, so what you came for, though, actually was requests.
Yes, it is time for the next request.
Remember, safe for work, not your OC. That's called a commission, not a request. You don't own the artwork, but if you want to buy it afterwards, please contact Baron. And be a good sport if we don't get yours. Okay, let's see a whole bunch of requests. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right.
All right. The nose of the moo cow is...
A nicely themed evening shirt. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Pinkie Pie, Asmod, Rosemary Parker, Disco Nights, Cyberpunk Mice and Bats, Rarity and Opalicious as Blofeld. There you go.
Celestia Bikini Art, Nose Art. Ooh, well, that could be that.
Okay, say Fleetfoot, say being say hoping to not be a wallflower.
Oh, no, Engineer Sam Patina would so not be a spider. She's
Sexy Big Macintosh. Okay, that always gets my vote. A WoW Tauren or a Guild Wars see. Celestia Bikini Bomber Nose Art. Rarapunk, there you go.
Yes,
Rarapunk.
Rarapunk.
Patina as a spider from Monster Musume, or even a Drider, yeah. Sam Elliott or John Wayne Ponafide. Show Twilight.
Patina's a Muppet pony her.
Yeah. Show Twilight Velvet wearing a young Shining Armor cosplay. Let's see.
We already did a Gangster Luna, so we're not going to do Gangster Celeste.
Right. This is flying by. Looking at all of them, can't narrate all of them. Not quite that fast. Yeah. Well, let's see. Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps as a Royal Masquerade Ball. Rosemary is a fantasy sorceress, especially with an Elvira-type costume. Irradiated pony limestone pie in a pretty dress. Or irritated. Okay, irradiated. I was thinking, too much Fallout 4.
It could be a glow-in-the-dark dress.
There you go. There's a Patina sitting on a 18-inch shell from the Amato.
Patina cosplaying Celestia.
Oh boy, she's just afterward. Now we have. It wouldn't be Gangster Celestia. It would be G-Man Celestia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Warrior Squirrel. Getting lag spikes. Okay, we can draw that. Let's see.
Carousel riding a carousel.
Yeah.
That could be amusing. That could be amusing.
Jar Jar the Hutt. Oh, music got really wrong. Oh, it's a big fat. Okay.
Someone's mentioned
Beatnik Rainbow Dash.
Someone's recommended Sexy Big Mac. That popped up again. You know what? Yeah, I think I will. I think I'm going to do Sexy Big Mac.
Woohoo!
That should make it's good for the goose, good for the gander type thing.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. The votes are in, and the biggest vote of all came from Baron. Yeah, but thank you, Prowell. I appreciate that. And I'm going to push this button right here that says draw.
Oh, and I'm gonna get some new board out here. Should have done this during the break, but oopsies.
Okay. So
But
hang on. So hang on to those
Yeah.
suggestions for the next slots.
You know, I do have to
some of
admit-
them were tempting.
Yeah, sometimes like the punk rarity. Punk rarity was tempting. Might just.
Navy SEALs. When they started admitting Lady SEALs. Cast your Wayback Machine to G.I. Jane.
And I'm
No, wait a
changing
minute.
glasses.
Yeah. And he's yes. So.
Now, here's the question: do we want Pony Big Mac or do we want Anthro Big Mac?
Well, let's see. Let's see.
I can draw them either way.
Yeah.
Show style. One call for show style.
Anthro or Farrell. Let's hear it, folks. I got my vote, but
What's your vote?
I tend to like
Show style. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Pony.
put it this way, say if we're looking for a big Anthro hunk, I'd be going for 30-30,
That's right.
which I did want.
Pony.
Yeah.
That's very
Pony.
Okay,
Pony.
we're going show
Yeah.
style. Totally can do.
Sexy Princess Big Mac. No, wait a minute. This is Princess Big Mac. E-up. E-up.
Okay, give me a moment here. I'm going to get my thing shift around here so I'm a little bit better on the camera view, else it's closer to me. Do. While you listen to the melodious tones of Caradwin on the keyboard. Okay, unfortunately, no, I don't want that. I want to go over to my DeviantArt, to my favorites. Do. That's interesting. There's a note. I'll read that later.
20. Is this going to be gender swap? I probably not, Hoolicious.
Nah.
Yeah, because once in a while, you gotta take care of the other side.
But if I do gal pigment pinup, I should be willing to do guy pigment. Like I said, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I've got some better Big Mac in here than that. I know it. Well, I've got a lot of HA. Don't know why. Can't imagine why I'd have an awful lot of HA. Yeah, there we go. That'll work for me. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. I think I know what I want to do. Okay, pause, start, it's back. Okay, may just be,
Yeah, the upload has been pretty steady, so I think that the hatred that the net has for us all is being concentrated on an unfortunate few tonight.
yes.
F5 for me, F5 for you.
I'll have a 5, you have 1, 2. Hey, getting a request for another WoW story.
Okay,
So I'm a WoW widower. I did not play WoW. I just simply looked over my wife's shoulder and laughed sometimes and pointed at her when she had mishaps.
There we go. All right, folks, we're going to set your Wayback Machine well before WoW. WoW came out in 2004. However, it was by no means the first MMO. the first MMO actually of that sort, the graphic MMO, was actually Meridian 59, but nobody remembers that. Although Mark Yanako worked on that. One of the first big successful MMOs was, of course, EverQuest. That was what Copper Cheetah was on. I was on Asheron's Call. One of the big sports on Asheron's Call was making fun of EverQuest players because EverQuest was so kind and gentle, while Asheron's Call was harsh. You died, you dropped all your best stuff, and all your stats took a hit. You died again, well, your next best stuff dropped. And you only had an hour to get your stuff back because otherwise the server would just erase it so it didn't clutter things up and take up memory and stuff. So it was a harsh game. The death penalty on in Asheron's Call was real.
Probably played a lot differently.
Yes, it was. It was just a different type of game. While EverQuest had more story to it, although Asheron's Call had its own. I can go on about that for ages, but I won't tonight. I'll do it some other night. So, one day in Asheron's Call, I was walking. Walking along the path between. What's the name of that town? Samsur and whatever the start of the town was in the desert. I'm only like 7th, 8th level. I see this guy standing next to this little salt marsh area where a river drained into the edge of the desert, looking forlornly at his 3 corpses sitting out in the middle of the swamp with all his good stuff on it, with all kinds of nasty bug monsters on top of it, and so of course it's what's wrong, afraid of a little bug. Well. He needed help recovering his corpses. I was an archer. I was a good one, even at that level. So very carefully, it was a hell of a fight. It took us like half an hour to clear the way to his corpses because, the monsters that we were fighting were significantly above our level. And by the time we got finished killing Monster 3, Monster 1 had respawned. So there was this little bubble of safety that was traveling with us, and it was a very short-lived one. But we got his stuff. We did the Lifestone Recall. That's the free teleport you get to, where you respawn if you die. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And so we started, traveling together in Asheron's Call, for years and years and years. That was Latty, Letty. And although the character name was different at the time, that was cool. Along came 2004. I got into the World of Warcraft beta, loved it. In the meantime, I had left Asheron's Call. I'd gone on to like Dark Age of Camelot and very briefly Anarchy Online, which was awful. And I was playing a little bit of Eve in its beta. Okay, so now I'm in World of Warcraft. Well, one day I'm on one of my many mookows. That would be Nanshi, my druid healer. And I'm cruising along through Shadow Moon Valley. It's at the time. This was in Burning Crusade, which was the second expansion, about 2006. And so I'm cruising along, and it's one of the high level areas, and see this blood elf paladin, blonde of course, because blood elf. It's all about the hair. Staring down at a bunch of monster types, and because there was a quest to take out. They're like evil blood elves to take them out, and so it's like, oh yeah, I know the quest you're on. Hey, you need a hand? Oh yeah, sure. So we start fighting together, and I think you guys can see where this story is going. Now, at the time, WoW had just passed its millionth player. But we start talking, and we're getting along. And it's like, hey, have you ever played MMOs before? Oh, yeah, I was in Asheron's Call. Me too. Well, what server? Frostfell. Me too. Oh, cool. Which monarchy were you in? Oh, we were in the Devils. Me too. Hey, who are you? I was second in command of the Devils at the time. Say, oh, I was Laddie. Oh, I was Kimbellian. Mm-hmm. Holy shit! It was the same guy. It was the same guy, and we met the same way. Mm-hmm. You know, and again, 100,000 players in Asheron's Call, 1 million players in World of Warcraft, and here we are hooking up after 7 years. You know, and that was, by the way, that guy, his character name is Larithus. Best tank I've ever worked with. Patient, you know, was totally interested in, say, in helping people learn the game. Would not get, you know, upset if there was a party wipe. It's like, okay, let's go do better again next time. Great sense of humor. He and his son played. The family that slays together stays together. And of course, his kid played a mage who had to be, you know, top DPS, and once in a while, you know, he would, you know, bust tank aggro by, you know, laying on too much damage, and I would get a whisper from, say, from Larithus, let him die. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
so he was not a go man. Go.
No, not even close. No, he was wonderful. Again, one of the people, you come for the game, you stay for the people.
Right.
And again, you know, again, out of 1 million World of Warcraft players and 100,000, you know, Asheron's Call players, there we were after 7 years, meeting for basically the same reason. You know, again, there were at the time 60 different World of Warcraft servers. We happened to pick the same one. You know, it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. Small world. Yeah. But yeah. You know, we ended up. We ended up with a small guild. Later on, became Oops Incorporated.
Perfect name for a guild.
Yeah, exactly. But again, we had a great core group. You know, again, his kid was a pretty good frost mage. You know, cranked out the damage. Once in a while, cranked out so much damage that the big bad would forget about the tank and go after the mage. And you know, depending on the situation, it's like, yeah, sorry, I let you die there, but you know, your dad told me to.
I had orders.
Yeah, exactly.
From a higher authority.
Yeah, he eventually learned. But yeah, those were the days. I mean, you know, Wrath of the Lich King, to me, is still, as far as MMO content is concerned, still at the top. With the Shadow Wars and Asheron's Call a close second.
I have to admit, the Copper Cheetah may be a little bit embarrassed by this, but I do remember standing over my wife's shoulder and watching them do a run, and it was his gnome mage. And they were indoors, and they were inside this cave cavern. I can't remember the name of the cavern, because like I say, I'm not a player, I'm a widower. And he was calling some area effect. It was like, you know, like Rain of Stars, something like that, basically. It's this really great, you know, like...
Yeah, that's the Druid area of effect, yeah.
Yeah. And the problem was they couldn't figure out why in the world they were getting these... He would cast this spell, and then he would... a few minutes later, like 16 quadzillion, you know, mobs would like pile onto them and die. And he if I understand correctly, what was happening was that because there was multiple levels above,
yeah,
as it was raining down and raining death and destruction on the guys that he was targeting, it would
also get second floor.
Right, second and third floor.
Who would come down to see who was, you know, dropping meteors on their heads.
Who was making their life? It's a rope. It's a dress.
Yeah.
Yes. Of which So, dear, I'm going to ask the question: when are you going to make that custom gusset that Dawn made for you for your Pikachu dress? My wife has been working on it. I'm going to embarrass her. She's working on a really cool Pokemon dress at the moment that has lots and lots and lots of Pikachus all over it. It's almost like Dazzle camouflage. Yeah.
And Lego, yes, we still exchange Christmas gifts every year. You know, so I'm still in contact. You know,
that's good.
He's the service manager of a Chrysler dealership up in the state of Washington.
Oh, so you need to go buy a car.
Pretty much. Yeah. His advice on the Fiat 500 is maybe not. It apparently still has someone. But yes, we're still in touch. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
So I thought Big Mac would be sexy if he takes his yoke off.
Oh yeah, I feel naked. It makes me feel like a princess.
You make me want to take this off. You think you like it when I take it off?
Yeah. Yeah. Copper Cheetah. It's a robe. Smudge. It's a dress. Yes. Yeah. That's definitely, you know, the Adventures of Blanc. Which, by the way, folks, Adventures of Blanc is a World of Warcraft webcomic that has many issues that coincidentally you can see on SmudgeMarksEnderworks.com.
Yep.
Yeah, you should go check it out. Drawn by Smudge.
Yep.
Yeah. So you should you should check that out. Yes, you should check that out.
Yeah, my wife is just not the web programmer for our company. She also, in herself, is a very talented artist.
Yep.
And she's actually working on a really cool project right now on Patreon, the Lumeria project, which is really kind of a neat thing. I know that she's had to kind of take a hiatus for a couple of weeks because she had to get some other website stuff done, but she wants to get back to it again. I know she's really kind of champing at the bit to do more Lumeria. Yeah. And it's a neat thing. If you haven't take a look at.
So apparently Legos is a Floridian. How's things going down there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are
you guys starting to recover a little bit?
Are you in South or North Florida?
Yeah.
And East or West side? Because apparently that did have an impact on how awful things got.
Yep. Yeah, frankly, I bet all the mayors in Ponyville like watching him work. Yeah, they all line up on the fence as he pulls the plow just to watch those hindquarters flex.
Oh yeah, there's a color piece I'd like to do of him plowing with Miss Shirley leaning on the fence, watching him work.
Yeah. So what comments have been made? Something about cracking walnuts, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So take it all off. Yep. There we go. You know, Smudge just put up the link. You guys, you need to go read that. It's, I mean, it is a really, really good. One of the best. Speaking totally objectively here, never mind that I know the artist behind it. Speaking totally objectively here, it's one of the best WoW web comics out there.
She hasn't done a little bit for a while because she really isn't involved in WoW as much anymore. But it was good enough that there was one that Blizzard Europe actually had up in their office for a while.
Oh, geez. Pinky. Oh, I thought Big Mac was gay until he got with that succubus pony. I would think that Big Mac is just plain not uptight about it. He's interested in people, not plumbing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to spoil things for folks who follow my Equestria Dreamscape, but my subconscious decided to follow a different path, and Big Mac has a different future, and Big Mac is off the market.
Yep. And all the mayors hate Shirley for taking him off the market. Well, there was that Sugar Bell temptress. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God.
And the DWK.
You are our paladin pony, Big Mac.
Pounding.
If you can't,
paladin.
then we are all of us damned.
Yes. You are pounding paladin.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. If folks have not seen DWK is a hoot. But be warned, if you're one...
It is raw.
Yeah. If you are one who's not really for...
industrial grade shipping.
Right. Don't watch it at work. If you do watch it at work, for God's sakes, wear headphones.
And for God's sakes, don't laugh because you don't have to explain why.
Yeah. Which will be very hard to do, which means you're going to be choking a lot on your drink.
Yeah. No, the thing about DWK, I mean, he does these, they're recaps. He sort of restates the story of the show in his own way.
Yeah. He hates the term analysis, but he does actually do pretty good analysis.
Yeah, and then pulls out these observations that are just absolutely razor sharp, and sort of bite home and have you thinking about it like an hour afterwards, just thinking about, oh, that's a really good point. Oh, wait, that applies to my life too, doesn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, he's presenting it in a very shall we say, rough way, but his observations are among the sharpest I've seen, from anyone in the community.
Especially all those so-called analysts. Well, I'm glad you got your power back in a reasonable amount of time there. Unlike, apparently Puerto Rico is going to be living on candles and oil lamps for quite a number of months.
Hey, Seven.
Hey, Seven. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. JJ Husk, DWK. Search YouTube for DWK.
Letter D, letter W, letter K.
Yeah. Then the word recap, RECEAP.
Or totally legit recap.
Totally legit, yeah. Well, that's the thing called silver. People have conflated review, criticism, and analysis in the pony community. It's widely used wrongly. Review actually is, you're looking for somebody whose tastes are the same as yours. This guy, when he says the movie is good, I'm probably going to like it too. And the reviewer basically says, I like it, I didn't like it. Critique, is what was done right, what was done wrong. It's somebody who would have, extensive knowledge of how things are made, techniques, that kind of thing, and would be able to dig all that out for you. It's more of a technical, thing. Analysis is where it's pulling out things that you might have missed, the deep themes, the stuff in the background, the references. And very few of the so-called pony analysis folks are actually analysts. They're usually either critiquers or reviewers. Nothing wrong with that, but, but the label's wrong.
Whereas
what DWK does, frankly, is even though he doesn't like the term analysis, it's analysis.
Yep.
Because he will pull out these themes and it's like, yeah, that's what was going on here. That was the subtext, and that's what analysts do.
Yeah, it's actually a case of, I was not even aware of it, but that was the feeling I had about the episode. He was the one who really kind of nailed it home on Fleetfoot.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah, she's creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I do recommend his channel, and he has a Patreon. Give him a couple bucks. I do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Silver Quill is definitely an analyst because he understands, he understands all these literary themes, et cetera, et cetera.
Dr. Wolf.
Dr. Wolf is he straddles the border between analysis and review.
That's what I was going to think.
Basically, he brings his own. He has his own tastes in episodes, and speaks to them, and that's great. But there are others like Mad Munchkin, definitely review. Kim Possible, definitely review. There's not a lot of folks in the fandom, doing in that community that really can do critique, because critique requires, again, deep technical knowledge, and there's a lot of folks with, with moderate technical knowledge of filmmaking, etc., but not a lot have deep.
Actually, Cold Silver makes an excellent kind of like mixing up pre-reader and editor.
Exactly.
Very good comparison, Cold.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, he's got a Patreon. If you feel like throwing him a buck or so, that's a cool thing. Actually, I should take this moment right now, especially because I have some new people in the stream. Like I say,
Cat's Paw, you got it exactly right. Review. I enjoyed this because, critique. The suspense scene was effective because, analyst. The storyline embodies aspects from this mythology. Anyway, sorry to jump on you there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I say, this is what I do for a living. I don't have a day job. And for some new people here in the stream tonight, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, I'm going to make my plug right now. Please consider possibly becoming a patron for me. It only costs $1 a month. That's 3 1/3 cents a day. And you might say, well, what can a buck a month do for Baron? Well, if everybody on DeviantArt gave me $1 a month, my wife and I would have a much easier life than we have right now. Right now, we're making it work, but it's an awful lot of swimming fast against the current.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're in the heart of Silicon Valley, and in a household with, with creative professionals, that usually doesn't mix.
Yeah,
Silicon Valley and creative professionals. There's a reason why they tend to not be found where they are.
Yeah.
So.
Basically, myself, Smudge, Cat's Paw, Rindis, who's not in the stream, but he might actually be leaning over Smudge's shoulder tonight, listening to things. Yeah,
Rindis is a technical professional.
He's a technical professional, but he also has his own publishing company.
He does. Yes.
Our household has 3 business licenses at that address. And actually, Rindis has his own Patreon too. Rindis is doing basically he does very, very extensive repostings of his war game sessions, and he talks about what happened, why it happened, why, this seemed like a great idea, and boy, my opponent showed me that was a bad idea, or this worked out really good.
Yeah, classic hardcore tabletop role-playing games.
Advanced squad leader, commanding colors.
Avalon Hills, SSI, and SPI.
And he has a Patreon too.
Yeah.
So if you're in that kind of thing, you might want to consider throwing him $1 a month or so, because he's...
everybody throws a buck at everybody.
Yeah. That's why I support some people online. In fact, I'm probably going to expand my Patreon this fall to some other people I've discovered. When, this person really deserves to get, kind of like Boris. Boris deserves $1 a month, because he makes me laugh my ass off while I'm watching him on lunch. And it's a cheap laugh in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I'm 7. Oh, I got plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just give him the big soulful eyes. You like me like this? You think I'm pretty?
Yeah. Draw me like one of your French mares.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Peter New recently did this silly thing on Twitter. Tell me two true facts about yourself. I am the sorting hat. I will tell you what house you're in. And he has this giant floppy wizard hat.
I should have submitted to that.
Yeah. Well, the answer for everybody was Hufflepuff.
No one went to Gryffindor?
Except for one that except that he pointed to one person and said Muggle. But he just he basically pre-recorded about 30 different Hufflepuff. But yeah, Peter New will do stuff like that on Twitter. He's very engaging in his fans. Argues with trolls a little bit too much, but he enjoys that. So hey, whatever makes you happy. But no, Peter New is also a prince among men.
Yeah, doesn't he have a film project he's been trying to get
forward? Well, always. He was part of actually starred in a recent short film called Woodman. Which has been making its way through the art film festivals. I was lucky enough to be able to attend the grand opening.
Oh, was that
the grand premiere?
Was that when you went and scrubbed your tires bald?
Yep. Yeah, that was the world premiere of Woodman. It's sort of a modern day retelling of the Pinocchio story with a real twist at the end. The premiere was at the Los Angeles Short Film Festival, which some big name Hollywood star backs up, kind of like Robert De Niro backs up Tribeca. And so friend and I went, jumped in the Mustang and went down to Southern California, taking the twistiest roads we could find, and some of them were pretty damn twisty, let me tell you. Completely used up a set of tires. Yeah.
Track day, extended track day.
Yep. Well, again, at one point, we were on the way back and taking because we went down and back in the same day. From San Francisco, basically San Jose to Hollywood and back in one day is a bit of a drive, particularly with several hours in between. Which, by the way, I ran into M.A. Larson and Trevor Duvall, and as well as the Krieber family was there. And
yay!
Not Krieber. I'm sorry. Not Maddie Peters.
The Barrows family?
No. Plays Sweetie Belle. God, I have
Claire Corbett.
Claire Corlett. Claire
Yes.
and Ian Corlett were there.
Yes.
Again, all showing support there. And it was a good film. What they do is they grouped them into blocks of like 2 hours, and I really think that Woodman was the best of our 2-hour block. There were a couple of other good films too. There were others that were like, why did you waste the bits to make this? The digital bits to record it. But there were some good films there too. I particularly liked the one about there was a sort of a documentary about the life as a domestic imported domestic servant in modern day Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
Yeah, harsh.
Yeah.
And it was made by this guy that I saw that the funding thing at the end. It said, Royal Saudi, Endowment for the Arts, thing. And I asked him I got a chance to meet him after the show, and I asked him, say, do they really want a light shined on this? He said, no, I'm in trouble. Is that they saw what I did, and if I go back to Saudi Arabia, they're going to arrest me.
Is this kind of like Michael Jackson and, Peter Jackson and Meet the Feebles?
No, well, a little bit more serious because, again, they bring in apparently they bring in domestic servants from Indonesia and places like that, and they aren't allowed to leave the house. They are locked into their bedrooms at night, so they don't escape.
It's indentured servitude.
It's beyond that. It's friggin' slavery. There's no other way to describe it, and it is still practiced.
Yep.
Again, they're abused because they are not of the appropriate, religion, sub-religion, sub-sect, whatever. But yeah, it was a very gutsy film, and when it's apparently when the folks who were in charge of seeing how the arts endowment money is spent got wind of this, they put out a warrant for his arrest. So I was just like, yeah, I can't go back to Saudi Arabia anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's real filmmaking.
Yeah, we'll talk about basically putting your life on the line for your arts. I mean, we sometimes nowadays go, oh, I'm being edgy by doing this. Like, no, there are other parts of the world where you will disappear and never be seen from again. I'm working with a client right now on a commission. I will not name the country because I don't know, they might be in the stream even for all I know. Working, and they have told me, Sep, I'm paying for a traditional piece of artwork, but when it's done, Sep, Dropbox file, send me a link and I will download a 600 DPI file and print it. But do not try mailing the work to me because in the country I live in, things disappear in the mail. Things just disappear.
Pinky Rational Pie just apparently signed on as a Patreon, so excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let's see. Going back through the list here, why offer exile? Because that way, even though it's a death sentence, they can say I didn't order them killed. Yeah, it's that whole my hands are clean. And so has Bettina taken revenge for that particular, say, for the picture yet?
Yes, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
It may show up in a future posting. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that evening when I came home and I went to sleep, she was kind of waiting for me in the staging area, sitting on a cushion.
There you go.
A big, fluffy cushion.
Yep. Let's see. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in an RPG role-playing game number 17. Collateral Damage Man is not an appropriate name for a superhero. Why, Bomb Boy? Why?
Oh.
Okay.
Old guy story.
The story of Bomb Boy.
As passed down from lore.
There was/is a comic book role-playing game called Champions. It is a game that people who know how to min-max, how to, abuse rules, can really, really, really
get
abuse
behind
the rules. Yeah. One of the ways that you can you get so many points to buy your powers, and one of the ways that you can make a power cheaper to buy, or get more for your money, as it were, more for your points, is to limit the number of uses that it has. Again, if you can use it, say, 16 times a day, it's basically at cost. If you can use it, 32 times a day, it costs a little bit more. If you can but if you can use it only once per day, it's like 1/4 the cost. Then there's something called an activation roll. Sometimes it fails. Does it by power? It's an unreliable power. And you roll 3 dice, and let's say, and lower is better. So you get like a 25% discount if it's on 14 or less, which is 90% of the time it works. 11 or less, 8 or less. Well, there's 3 or less, which is basically to say you roll 3 on 3 dice, 1 time in 216. So Bomb Boy was a character, say, of this guy whose wife was really into the original Champions beta test game, with the authors of the game. And he sort of got roped into it. He really didn't want to play, but he said, okay, fine, show me the rules. And he had Bomb Boy. And one of the things that Bomb Boy could do is he had this giant backpack filled with explosives, and he had a little dead man switch, and he was always going, click, roll the dice, 7, darn, click, roll the dice, 14, darn. And the power was an explosion with a hole in the center, basically an explosion that does not affect the guy blowing it up.
Everyone else in the neighborhood has a bad day.
One day, the fight was going on, Bomb Boy, click, darn, click, 1, 1, 1. All the dice on the table. And after the explosion, the villains were dead, half of the superheroes were dead. You know, most of the other superheroes were stunned into next week.
Any civilians in the area wore bread gel.
Yeah, exactly. There was one superhero left who was conscious, barely, bleeding, you know, and he just goes, "Why, Bomb Boy? Why?" And Bomb Boy just wanders off. Click. Darn.
Reset.
Click. Darn. So at that point, you know, the guy was uninvited from the game because they got the message that he really didn't want to play. There is a postscript to the story. Apparently, the guy's wife eventually left him and ran off with the game master. So yeah, that is the legend of Bomb Boy.
Yep. Yeah, Cappuccino, we take it for granted sometimes in this country that we can, you know, basically open our pie hole and say all kinds of things. And there are parts of the world where not even if you say it directly, but you indirectly imply it. And if somebody in a position of authority says, "I didn't like that," you could have some real problems. You could have some real problems. Like I say, the client said, "Don't ship it to me. Things disappeared in my country." All kinds of things disappear in my country. With the implication, I'm not.
People disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, I can read between the lines. I know exactly what you're referring to. And unfortunately, his country has not gotten any better.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple of very good artists who have gone silent because, you know, they were getting harassed.
Yeah, and I'm deliberately mixing gender here, so you don't know if it's he or she.
Well, some of both that I know of.
Yeah. And that's actually one of those things when you're a professional, you have to kind of keep that in mind. It's nice to be able to, you know, toot your horn and say, "Oh yeah, this," and that's why quite often if I do a commission with somebody, I'll ask them, "Is it okay to post this work?" Because there are occasions where it's like, I don't want my boss to know about this. I don't want my, you know, the head of security in my country to know about this. And that's kind of like that realization that other people have to live their lives differently than we do here. And that's sometimes that's a bucket of cold water in the face. It's like, oh, right. Around here, no big deal. In your country, that's 10 years hard labor. Even more so because I got a couple people who are patrons, who basically patrons who sponsor me every month, and they spend $1 a month, and I realize, you know, to a certain extent, they're taking a risk by doing this. Because if someone ever connects the dots and realizes they're that person, takes a look and says, "Well, you've been, you know, supporting, you condone this kind of stuff." It's like, ouch.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin,
Yes.
things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game number 28.
Uh-huh.
The goddess of marriage's chosen weapon is not the whip. Oh, maybe where you are. When investigating evil cultists, Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to just torch the decrepit mansion from the outside.
Aw, it's been so much more straightforward. It's going to happen anyways. It's either that or the mansion collapses into an interdimensional portal and gets sucked through anyways and vanishes and leaves us basically the empty basement cellar.
Yeah. Pinky, he's just shy.
Yeah. It's just kind of like... He's a very quiet pony.
Wasn't always.
Yeah, this is true. But Miss Shirley's probably in my dreamscape is going to probably make a good significant other for him. Oops, I just let out a leak there. last spoiler.
Yep.
Apple, and they went to Apple Bloom to get basically, they got, of course, they went to AJ and got AJ's blessing, and they got Apple Blooms. And all I'll say is that she said, so long as it doesn't include something which will come up in a posting in the relatively near future with her, she's good with it. As long as it doesn't involve something that she saw Patina doing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Apple Bloom is wise beyond her years.
There you go. List of things Patina is no longer allowed to do in Equestria.
Equestria.
1, participate in the immigration service. 2, say sweet dreams. 3, sit.
Yeah, she's one of these ponies, even when she doesn't mean it, she has an influence on other ponies because they've seen her doing things. And that's actually what kind of happens with Apple Bloom. Yeah, she didn't realize Apple Bloom was there, but she was doing something, and Apple Bloom saw it, and, well, Apple Bloom's view of the world has changed a little bit.
Well, it's part of Ed.
Yes.
Because Apple Bloom discovered the internet.
Fortunately, no. Repressed Desires of Book Horse. You are going to be seeing more of Repressed Desires of Book Horse in the future. Lots
Yes.
and lots and lots of repressed Book Horse.
Yeah. Say Book Horse not embracing her identity as a young mare? Say it isn't so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's going to get a bucket of cold water at some point right in the face, and that'll kind of shake her out of that. But that's for a future posting. Once again, I want to avoid any spoilers. Because, oh boy, they're spoilers.
Yeah. Number 6, introduce yet another new dance form.
Cosplay as Princess Die Eater.
Things Mr. Welch is no longer allowed to do in RPG number 55. Before facing the dragon, he is not allowed to dribble glaze all over the elf. Or syrup, or ketchup.
Yes. Or hot sauce. Since, for all we know, dragons might like hot sauce. I'm going to get this one all shaded in before the break. Yay! Just working the shadows here.
Yep.
Pushing contrast so limbs pop forward and,
Yep.
by torso.
Yeah.
Dance, you pervs.
Dance, darn you dance. You're doing the boogie dance. Doing the ooga booga. Book horses don't like hot sauce. Well, considering how much hot sauce she had in that
Cupcake.
one incident, yes.
And she doesn't like quesadillas because they're just so cheesy.
There we go. Thing Patina is no longer allowed to do in Equestria. Number 6, infer that cuddling is a valid form of addressing royalty.
Aww.
Only in your dreams, Patina.
And boy, does she have vivid ones. One of the things that does happen on occasion now is that it's a weird thing that Patina cannot remember her own dreams when she sleeps. So I get stuck with the job of having to go into her dreams and see what they are and then take notes and then come back and tell her what she dreamed about. Wow, does she dream
you're
about
going to need
some
a
things?
biohazard suit. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, does she dream about things? And you need a shower afterwards.
Hello, Pink Pony.
Yay! Big Pony made it!
There you go. Somebody dumped. Where does Twilight fear of quesadillas come from? From that incident when somebody dumped molten cheese all over Celestia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nazumi says that, oh, but I thought hugging was the proper way of addressing royalty.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but you have to keep your hands off the butt.
You see, Patina's
At
entirely...
least in public.
Patina's entirely in Nazumi's.
There you go.
You can't.
Have you ever lied to Patina about her dreams? Yeah,
Yes.
you dreamed about this.
Yes, I have.
I did?
I have. First couple times it worked. A couple other times It
Not
didn't.
so much.
It didn't.
You have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, I do, and I'm about ready at about the stop point because I've just basically got about all the little details in I want on this one.
Things Mr. Welch is no longer allowed to do in an RPG. Number 80. When accepting a challenge for a duel, I must allow the other guy time to find a pistol. But I like Patina's way of hugging royalty. Now I'm channeling my inner Ron White. Call that a mouth hug.
All right.
Number 92. The name of the weapon shop is not Bloodbath and Beyond. I like that. I'm going to keep
That's good.
that.
We're writing that one down.
I'm going to keep that one.
Yes. That one goes on the remember that for the future. That's a great line to remember in an RPG. To say if they are GM and possibly get a couple extra XP points at the end of the session. Yeah. Okay.
Just about there.
Yep. I'm concerned myself.
I'm going to push a button.
All right.
I like to push
back
buttons.
to here. Let's change
There
my
we go.
glasses.
There we go.
All right.
So that is number 2 out of 4. Has Patina ever met Cadence?
Yes, she
Oh,
has. Yes,
God.
she has. She has met Cadence. Not too many spoilers. Let's just say they did exchange some notes, and about the closest thing to a court restraining order in Equestria has been issued.
Keep your hands off my husband.
Not saying anything.
Ha.
Not saying anything.
Yeah, of course. When both Patina and Cadence are staring at shining armor, and Shining would be like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to walk.
I feel slightly threatened here.
Yeah, as well you should.
Good.
All righty, folks. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Get some more drink. Go get rid of some of your old drink. Stretch. And we will see you for hour number 3. Have your requests ready. Hold on to them until you are asked for, and we'll see you in 5.
So we are doing tonight is we're raising awareness to a GoFundMe that is happening. Mary Bellamy, one of the cover artists for the IDW Ponies comics. She's done a lot of the alternate covers. She's a comic book artist. That is not the pathway to great riches and financial stability.
You do it because you love it, not because you think you're going to get paid much.
And you're willing to make the sacrifices because you love your art so much. At any rate, Mary is having a GoFundMe right now. She is under a bit of a bind. She has a relatively large financial bill that is rather hard to swallow.
She blew the cylinder head gasket on her car, which apparently her mother, who is a nurse, uses to get to work. And nobody in that family is rich.
Right.
They're all scraping by to make it.
Yeah.
And this is a huge financial hardship. So they are doing a GoFundMe to get the car repaired, to get Mary Bellamy's mother, get her ability to get to work.
I mean, she's going to be a guest at EQLA. She was a guest at Crystal Mountain PonyCon this year.
Salt Lake City, yeah.
Salt Lake City. She is, well, she's needing a little bit of help now. Not Skybrush, what am I saying? That's me. Cat's Paw is going to be putting up a link in the chat here, hopefully in just a moment or so, that will have the URLs. You can go to the GoFundMe. Thank you very much, Cat's Paw.
Very timely.
And to my wife, Smudge. Smudge Dragon still in the chat? Do I see my wife's name in the chat?
Nope. Quick, reach for the vodka.
Oh, yeah. She's probably went out to dinner. Yeah. So go help her out. She's a great artist, and we want to support all the folks from IDW. We did something last year a lot more serious with Jen Blake when she had a medical bill that she had to confront.
Yeah.
A big medical bill.
Yeah, apparently she's still struggling.
Yep.
But we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. But she has a fighting chance at least.
All right. So let's get you guys all geared up, though, for what you actually came for.
Request.
Request. All right. Remember, safe for work, or at least close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not your original character. That's called a commission.
Yep.
If you're
Okay. Smudge, since you're in the chat, could you by chance throw up in the chat there some of the links to some of the covers that Mary has done? So people get an idea. I mean, there may be some watchers out here and followers who are going, I have that comic. I have that cover. I really think that cover is great. I want to see her do more work. Yeah, no. Yeah, put the vodka away. You were called on. She was watching.
Yeah. Well, what about for me? Yeah.
Well, that's fine for you, but not for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm done for the evening.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, get ready on your request then. Again, not your original character.
Mm-hmm.
Vaguely safe for work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you've seen what he puts on the channel and what he doesn't.
Yep.
If you don't get picked, be a good sport about it. And remember that if he draws the picture for you, that doesn't mean you own the picture. If you want to buy the picture afterwards,
that's a different matter. Talk to me.
All right, so folks, 1, 2, 3, go! Give.
We had a close runner-up last time. I'm kind of itching maybe to do that one.
Celestia and Troubleshoes, Vipera wielding leather in a can, steampunk rarity again. Rosemary modeling a turn-of-the-century swimsuit, sassy saddles in a dream miniskirt and high heels, Celestia bikini bomber nose art, Coco Pamel modeling a swimsuit of 1 or 2 piece, Bunny Girl Octavia, the aftermath of Tina's with Celestia, Punker Girl Sweetie Belle, Rosemary Parker meets Jessica Knight, yes, Anther Spike as Humdrum, Bob Ross Pony. Bettina wakes up in a Disney, it's in a Disney AU.
French-made Pinkie Pie.
Alternate yeah. More steampunk rarity. Navy SEALs. What did they start? Okay. As in pinnipeds. Yeah. A pinniped Navy SEAL.
Yes.
Zecora as Zatanna. Zecora as a fantasy druid. Punker Girl Sweetie Belle again. Yes. The invincible Iron Stallion. With a repulsor hoofs. Rarity enjoying a saucy... Rarapunk. Oh, there's another Rarapunk.
Yeah.
Rarity enjoying a saucy story. Deputy Mayor Calico Callie Briggs from SWAT Cats.
Abdul. Okay. I've seen a lot of requests for steampunk and punk rarity. And I will admit, I've been kind of itching to want to do a sketch of rarity from last week's episode. So I think
this is very mildly spoilerific. So again, don't talk about the story. I was going to say don't talk about the plot, but you know.
Yeah.
But
again, bumps.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to see then a punk rarity. Then are we?
Yes.
All right.
Oh yeah. Smudge has put up a link to Mary Bellamy's latest piece on DeviantArt. And if you go to her DeviantArt, she has a whole gallery just of MLP stuff, so you can see some of the work she's done.
Absolutely.
She's done some cool stuff.
All right. So your task is clear.
Yep. It's going to be punk rarity. Yay. Yay.
And while
now, here's a question for folks. Do we want show punk rarity or do we want anthro punk rarity?
Two legs, 4 legs, 2 legs, 4 legs, 2 legs, 4 legs.
Show.
4.
Show.
4. 4.
Show.
4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. Okay, I think that's.
I think we have a consensus
4.
here.
4. Anthro. Okay.
Anthro.
Yeah. Show. Looks. It still looks pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I think people want show, which is kind of fun, anyways. I actually rather enjoy working in the.
Right. So while you are setting up and grabbing your reference,
do our plug.
I'm going to do the duty.
And I'm going to change my glasses.
Yeah, there you go.
He said duty.
All right, so we want to we want to thank University Art for sponsoring Baron, keeping him well supplied with the art supplies he needs to do his craft. University Art is a high-end art supplies and framing store with offices in San Jose and Redwood City and Sacramento, California. They have a very knowledgeable sales staff. Although they lost one of their best guys a little while ago. That would have been Baron.
Hi, Mike.
There you go. And again, very knowledgeable sales staff, high-end museum quality framing, archival grade, keep your artwork protected for 100 years, literally. They have handled original Picasso's, original Rembrandt's, and original Nobel Prize awards. So they know how to handle serious stuff. They also offer instruction, seminars, workshops, things of that sort. So not only can you buy great art supplies there, the people that sell them to you actually understand how they're used. What a concept! Try getting that at Michael's.
It's amazing how much that can really, really help.
Indeed. They're not there to upsell to you. They're there to make sure you get the right tool so you'll come back. So we, again, want to say thank you to University Art for sponsoring Baron and for being just an all-around great place to go for your artsy stuff.
And also the fact that they're very willing to make certain that next Saturday, one of their employees, the assistant manager I worked under for almost 20 years, Jeff Bramschweiber, can be on the show here doing his stream about Egyptian tomb painting.
Oh, they're giving him the day off just for this?
Well, they're not giving him the day off, but he's going to be.
Or half day,
they're going to make certain that he can get here in time. At least, well, I don't know. I'll double check with Jeff. Maybe he does have the whole day off. I need to get a confirmation on that. That's something maybe for tomorrow to call and find out where he stands on that. And there was a question whether this was going to be punk or steampunk. And the question I have is why need they be mutually exclusive? Why can't we do a little bit of both?
Yep. Indeedly doodly, neighbor,
Exactly.
Yeah, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Napster good.
But some 4 legs more equal than others. Ram you. That's all its Animal Farm references.
I find it amusing that it appears to be in Equestria, hooves are a sign of intelligence. You're more likely to
Hoof critters can speak.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're very smart, don't you know?
Yeah. You could have asked.
You could have, yeah. Him with Murieta.
Yes.
Yeah. So back when I was running that post-apocalyptic game, you ran into a little bit of that.
Yes.
Yeah, with T-Bone and crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun when I got to actually role play one of the NPCs. It's like, so this is what it's like to have hit points. Wow, it's nice to be able to shrug off that attack, unlike Dr.
Dr. Hurdy Hose.
Yeah, Dr.
Hurdy Hose was
Dr. Strongheart.
Dr. Strongheart.
Dr. Strongheart.
Hurdy Hose was elsewhere.
Yeah, Strongheart was a great guy. Has stallion, has placed in the right heart in the right location, but damn,
Hello, Dort.
He was a bit of a glass can at times.
Yeah. Well, but he never ran out of ammo.
No, he didn't. I found it amusing that I did more damage sometimes than the cursed 9mm.
Yeah. Yeah, what Baron's talking about, I have a post-apocalyptic role-playing system, not Fallout Equestria, though it can very easily be used for that, more Road Warrior than that. We did the alpha run of the game on, and it actually turned out pretty good. I just need to sit down and get my ass in gear and finish it out. Baron played the medic, as it were. Being that it is post-apocalyptic, that means that ammunition, the 45 long Colt, the 9mm Marabellum, and of course, for your Winchester rifle, was fairly rare. They found and unreliable. Yeah, they found an old 9mm and a nice little stock of ammo for it. And, okay, this is going to make our lives a lot easier. Except that it caused the dice to be cursed. When they could hit, it always rolled minimum damage.
Except for the last shot.
Except for that was a crit.
The finishing blow.
Yeah, there you go. And one of the things on the game was that when you took with magic, you take a school of magic. And like telekinesis is its own school, levitation is its own school, light is its own school, healing magic is its own school. And you took like, what was it? It was just like 1 or 2 skill in, what was it? Lightning magic, electrical magic.
Yes.
Yes. And the thing is that each school, there's spells of different different power levels in it. That take different skill to cast. But the lowest level combat one always costs 0 mana. It only does 1 point of damage.
But it always does, but doesn't cost anything. You always do 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. And very few critters have magic resistance.
Yes.
So again, at least you never run out of ammo. And there were times when, say, when Baron's character was the only ranged fire that was available. Either that, or they would throw down the 9mm in disgust and then charge in and kick things in the teeth.
It was just like, bang.
You would have loved it. Dusty was in the game and he played a nerd.
Yeah. Bang, 1 point. Bang, 1 point. Bang. And of course, meanwhile, I'm going zap, 1 point. Zap, 1 point. And then, like, the last shot, after the party's gotten injured, which means Dr. Strongheart's going to be practicing his trade after it's all said and done, Dusty or Catpaw's character would take one more shot at the thing and would do max damage at 6 points. It's like, you did that on purpose. We hate you.
Yep.
We hate sea hobbits.
Yep. Yeah, Pink Pony, I tend to agree with you. The Picardo mobile app needs help.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, part of it is they have a bad layout, and it's hard to see the show and to see the chat and then to be typing in it. There's a screen real estate problem, but it's also it tends to jump into different modes pretty much at random.
Hey, just because occasionally we have guys who actually lurk from Picardo in the stream, if you're hearing that, can we do something about that? You can expand your market.
Yeah.
Expand your market. More people following you on Picardo.
Yep. Yeah. Say we love you. We just need we just need a little help with the mobile app. So Pink Pony would like to know if there's any tips about when it comes to erasing the armature. Would that be like when or?
Yeah, when do you need to do it? Well, I guess my answer B is when I feel like I've got the figure in place and it's no longer going to be benefiting me and it's actually going to end up being a hindrance. That would be my...
Yeah, there will come a time when it's pretty clearly you cross the line.
Right, and unfortunately it's not a clear-cut thing. It's probably going to vary on every artist and their own, how about they go about doing stuff. I love Assassin Monkey's work. He was on earlier. He may still be on for all I know still, streaming. I love Assassin Monkey's work. His stuff is amazing. But I watch the process that he uses to create art, and I'm going, you create this amazing art, you do this, and then a miracle happens. I'm still not quite certain what exactly he's doing, but he put up a video on Twitter yesterday showing how he creates eyes, and it's like, that is amazing. I need more details, but wow, that is just...
Well, he does the three-dimensionality of the iris, etc.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Angi also wants to know if there's any any tutorials or can offer any tips on how to do lucid dreaming. Although it's my understanding that the folks at the Stanford Sleep Center are interested in picking your brain on that. Too.
Yeah, apparently they follow me quite avidly online. They follow my quest for Dreamscape. If you do a Google search for lucid dreaming, you will probably come up, I believe it's the Lucid Dreaming Institute is their name. They're kind of like the biggest organization for it. Of course, there's some questions about whether or not lucid dreaming is really what people think it is, or whether or not it's another function that the brain is doing.
It's not well understood.
No.
But it is a subject of serious study.
Mm-hmm.
As in the Stanford University, which is one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country, wants to grab Baron and wire him for sound, as it were, put electrodes on his brain.
And then have me sleep there for a night and see if they can record something.
Yeah.
And I am tempted to take them up on the offer.
Yeah. Of course, at that point, Bettina will crawl out and hack their computers.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm kind of worried about. It's like, oh, great, and then I let the Matrix code loose.
I'll come to the conclusion he doesn't lucid dream, he's just insane. Yeah.
Maybe insane, but at least it keeps me from going crazy.
Oh, geez. Apparently Assassin Monkey does his art with a mouse, not a tablet.
Yes, and he works with this gigantic brush in Photoshop. And I've watched him, and, my underdrawings are fairly solid. Like I said, there's a certain amount of this, and then a miracle occurs. And I'm not quite certain, even watching his streams, where exactly the magic is happening, but it really is something, and he has a great sense of lighting and color.
But we have another thing Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Rule number 142. Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to give a 4-year-old a sugar rush just to jack up the challenge rating later.
Why does that sound like a little...
Hello, Mick1594.
Little doohickey.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I like Little Doohickey. She was one of my better NPCs. Now, I'm going to give Rarity boots. Why? Because I can.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming she didn't have any boots handy in the episode, and she just didn't feel like going and asking Patina because Patina would love
Because shiny black leather is very fashionable, darling.
Yes, and I apparently am decent at doing it. As one person recently put, for the love of God, whatever you do, don't lose your interest in drawing it. It's like, okay.
Yep. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Number 154. Or was that 134? 134. The King's Guard. Official name is not the Royal Order of the Red Shirt. That gets expensive if it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Those red shirts cost a lot.
And when the guy is at -9 hit points, it is not the best time for my cleric to convert him. I would disagree. Traditional D&D, -10 is dead.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're at -9. Let's talk about. Would you like to take time to discuss your relationship with the gods? Yeah. So give you a hint. There'll be a pop quiz in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though, just for the record, for all new people, this is a political free zone, so please keep your...
Yeah. Yeah. Little Doohickey was a non-player character that Baron came up with when it was his turn to be game master of the Ponytails game, written by our very own Catspaw DTP. And Catspaw Baron and I would sort of take turns doing runs in the game to alpha test it and all that. Little Doohickey is a little unicorn that, if she doesn't get her meds, tends to do earth-shattering magic.
She's a little filly. Yep. And
yeah, if she's not kept at least a little bit mildly sedated, like I said, she goes all Akira on your ass.
Yeah, her whole entire talent was levitation. Her cutie mark,
all of it.
Yeah, her cutie mark was a Derek Crane.
Yeah.
If she got to a certain point, and you basically checked off enough boxes, you tripped something, and then what you did is you rolled a D6, and then you took that number and you times the number of dice she could roll. So if she had 4 dice usually of levitation and she rolled a 6, she rolled 24 dice for 1 turn. Then she blacked out.
This is not a power available to player characters.
No, and then she blacked out.
Yeah. Yeah, she was, yeah. On the other hand, if you could aim her at the right moment and get the bad guy that you want taken out to be the focus of her attention, sometimes problems can be solved that way.
Yeah, or at least your villain end up in their zip code.
Yeah, you broke my villain.
But it was very much this, it's on, it's off. And even when she wasn't, she had a lot of dice and levitation for a filly.
Yeah.
And she came from a very loud, rambunctious family, which didn't help her situation any.
Yeah. That, and she was subject to hallucinations isn't quite the right word, but shall we say auto-generated psychedelic effects.
And some of that was the result of the tonic they had her on.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was...
yeah,
you were always nervous when Little Doohickey was around. Please don't make her mad.
Yeah.
Don't wake up Akira.
But she really was a likable character, and everyone really liked Doohickey because she really, really, really was trying to do the right thing. And she was really, she knew that sometimes she did bad things, but she couldn't help it when the 6-legged bandicoots showed up.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
Because they would laugh at her, and then she'd get upset, and she'd get angry, and she'd try to squash the 6-legged bandicoots.
Hi, Grand Moff. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
You seem familiar, but...
Yeah, I think Grand Moff has been here before.
Yeah, we'll say, but if not, welcome. If so, well, welcome back. Yeah.
I'm doing a steampunk rarity.
Yeah. There we go. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Number 171. My character's dying words are not allowed to be Hastur, Hastur, Hastur. He who shall not be named.
Yes.
H.P. Lovecraft. So we have Darth Vader and Grand Moff Pony. Where's Empress Palpatine then? Empress Palpatine.
I like it.
Uh-oh. I can feel you swelling. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? You know.
Good thing you're wearing a robe.
The dress.
Damn you, Cartwin.
That's a full Nelson. That's a half Nelson.
As Bettina frankly takes notes in my head.
There are things that should not be said. There are voices in my head. How I wish that they would go away. But they're here to stay. Never got around to reading Lovecraft. I have the collected works, and still I haven't. Everything knows through games. Well, that gives you a pretty good idea. Mr. Lovecraft was a little bit not one of the rest of us.
Yeah, but I have to admit, he's been a heavy influence. I've read almost everything that he ever wrote, including some pretty obscure stuff. And yeah, he was an influence. I read him in college, right when I was really getting heavily into lucid dreaming. Yeah, I find his work fascinating, but I mean, I turned out okay.
The problem, when you talk about these rules and they should be obvious, go to read some of the warnings. Say things like on a power drill, do not stuff up your nose. The reason they're there is because somebody did, and then they hired a lawyer. People will do some really dumb stuff. I mean, they just do.
And even when, it's not just the case sometimes.
Admit it, you once put a 5 zloty coin in your nose.
Yeah, I mean, there's even cases where it's like, 95% of the time, the person is on the ball, has their head screwed on straight, and there's no problem. And just in that one moment of indecision, you do something stupid. As my dad put, everyone's stupid once in a while. It's whether or not they make it their standard MO that's the real problem.
Yeah. I mean, who uses a hairdryer in a bathtub? One fewer than used to.
Yes.
Yeah. Caution, hot beverage. Do not pour in lap. Yeah, there you go. Grand Moff Pony's dad would say, make it idiot-proof and someone will invent a better idiot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, my one...
Well, it's actually McDonald's, Ongi, but yes.
Yeah, the one that I can recall was one day in shop. I was working on the drill press, and I put a drill bit in. And anyone who's worked on a drill press has probably had this situation happen where you just don't get the bit quite straight.
It goes wibble, wibble, wibble.
Yeah, and it's particularly when you turn on, you can tell that it's not correct. Now, of course, the rational thing you do is, if you haven't tighten it all the way, turn the press on, you look at it and go, oh, wait, that's not quite right. And you go, and you straighten out, then you tighten it down. And then you fire it up. Well, I fired up the drill press, and of course, the fact that the bit was not straight made it a lot more obvious, and I could see this thing wobbling back and forth in front of my eye. And I reached out like I would when the drill press was turned off to straighten out the bit, and I got about an inch away from the bit, and I pulled my hand back and said, what am I doing? This is stupid. So I shut the press down, waited for the thing to completely come to a halt.
Then go drink some coffee. Yeah.
And then went and straightened out the bit. You can just have those moments where familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that keeps engineers and legal departments laying in bed at night staring up at the ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, just a little background on that McDonald's coffee case thing. The big award was not because McDonald's served coffee that was too hot and it burned her. It burned that old lady. Because all she'd asked for was to have her medical costs covered. The amount of the award was because McDonald's apparently very aggressively told her to piss off, and denied her everything and threatened her with a countersuit. And the jury and the judge said, "Okay, McDonald's, we're going to teach you how to be decent human beings, since obviously you didn't learn this in grade school." So the amount of that award was to get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
See that plus there was also not just the award, but there was also a court order for McDonald's to stop doing that. Both to stop to stop trying to use threat of a countersuit to silence suits, as well as to cool down your damn coffee.
Yeah, actually,
180 degrees is fine. 211.99 is not.
Right. My wife actually watched a very interesting Nova article about that whole lawsuit and what exactly happened. I was like, oh, that's why people got so bent out of shape over it.
Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in an RPG number 89. Tourette's syndrome is not a flaw. It is a reason to kill the character at creation. But it's an excuse for me to say every dirty word all the time. It's like, okay, this character, yeah, right. Yeah, there are some character concepts that say that you should not, that no GM should should allow themselves to be bullied into allowing. All my character does is swear in churches, but I'm being true to the character. No, role playing a jerk
is still being a jerk.
He is still being a jerk. Yep. Sometimes just being tired or drunk, like grabbing the loud end of a soldering iron, jerking away, knocking the iron off the desk, onto your leg, and bounce off your foot and onto wood shavings.
And then you get to remember where the fire extinguisher is.
Yeah. Well, you also learn what your favorite cuss words are.
Yep.
Old man story.
Is this the story of the Glock?
It is.
The Glock story, kids.
The Glock story. Set your Wayback Machine to approximately 1991.
Last century.
Yeah. Glock, the the well-known manufacturer of handguns that are partially plastic. They're not all plastic. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They had been working almost exclusively in 9mm. Now, there was a brand new round had just been introduced.
New kid in town.
New caliber, 40 Smith & Wesson. It is slightly larger in diameter than a 9mm. It's basically a 10mm. But with the same length of case as a 9mm. So the idea is that you just take a 9mm and you can bore it out, and it's a 40 Smith & Wesson. The idea was to have the stopping power of a 45 with the ammunition capacity of a 9.
And a 9mm size pistol.
Yeah, exactly. So, brand new round. There was only two guns in the world that chambered it: the Smith & Wesson 40-06 and the Glock model. I believe it was
26.
No, it was 21 or something. 22.
Okay. The 26 is subcompact version. That's
I think it was a 22. But Smith & Wesson, what they had done is they had taken their Smith & Wesson 1006, which is a 10mm, which is a round that is as powerful as a 44 Magnum, and just shortened it. So, and then they said, okay, and the 4006 is just basically a rebarreled version of the. So it's so it's built really to
very hefty.
Yeah, exactly. To take the chamber pressure of a 44 Magnum, essentially. What Glock did was took a 9mm and bored it out, which means less metal. Now, all of the data for loading your own ammunition was from the Smith & Wesson 40-06, which was the first, it was the first one to be introduced.
Which you take hefty loads.
Yeah, again, it's a very, very strong gun. So everybody says, yeah, you can do this, and you can load it up to incredible pressures, and it's just fine. So I said, fine, I want a Glock 22, and I bought a Glock 22, but I wanted to load my own ammunition because it was so expensive, because it was brand new, so I used that load data. Well, it turns out that putting a high-pressure round into a gun with less metal is less wise than taking a really powerful gun and putting a less powerful round into it. A friend of mine was shooting it and doing double taps, and one of the things that high pressure can do, particularly to all lead rounds, is it causes lead to build up on the barrel, and the barrel starts to shrink 1/1000 of an inch at a time.
Smaller diameter, more pressure for the next round.
Right, until the bullet goes and stops. And then the next, because he was doing double taps, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The second round jumps forward, hits the bullet, and stops, but the powder's still burning. And then the gun blew up, literally. the top, let's say the top of the breech, the chamber where the bullet goes, blew straight up and hit the top of the gun range's shooting
Ceiling.
range. The magazine blew out of the bottom and the trigger shattered. Now it failed in a good way. It directed all the power of the explosion away from his face and away from his hand. But we learned that Johnny's favorite cuss word in the entire world is shitfire. Because those are the situations where your true personality comes out.
Yep.
There are no filters.
And I can verify.
And he was fine, by the way.
Yeah, and I can verify the Carradine story because I held that thing the very next day.
All the pieces of it.
And have you ever seen a Jiffy Pop popcorn container?
Yeah, kind of like that.
At the end, when you're done popping and everything's kind of bulged. Okay, now imagine that being a handgun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a credit to the engineers that they made it so it'd fail in a way that the best possibility that the operator is going to walk away with a boo-boo, a bruise, and a hell of a story to tell in the bar, and that's about it. And not be, new nickname of Stubby.
Yep. Now, it was, again, it failed in a good way. So I called up the PS of the story here, the epilogue. I called up Glock and I said, I done a dumb thing. And they said, well, what'd you do? And so I did this. And they said, okay, well, one, start with low pressure loads and, build up. Two, just because you run out of 170 grain, copper jacketed bullets doesn't mean you can grab 170 grain all lead bullets because you will get barrel leading.
Even if the magazine will feed them.
Yes.
And they'll dance up the feed ramp.
Yeah, they said, I said, yeah, I know, I completely did a bad thing to my warrant. And they said, okay, could you at least send us the gun? We'd like to see it.
Yeah.
And so I, bundled it up, sent it off to them. And I got a call a couple of weeks later, and they said, actually, we found a very small metallurgical fault. Even though, and they said, in the breech, and it failed along those lines there. They said it normally wouldn't have been a problem, but well, you were running 50,000 pounds per square inch in a gun that was designed for 35,000. So they said, we're going to give you a new pistol. We're going to give it to you in 9. Please don't hand load for it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So Carradine learned a lesson. Johnny learned his favorite cuss words, and I got a free replacement firearm out of it because Glock is very nice people.
Yeah, actually, Orca, that public service message right now. AR-15s actually come in more calibers than just .223 or 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO.
You can get them in 308.
More importantly, you can get them in 300 AC blackout.
Yeah, which is very similar to the 300 Whisper.
Yes, but more importantly, they use the same magazines with a slightly different follower, but that's all. And you can take a magazine for 300 AC blackout.
With 300 AC blackout rounds.
And put it into your 5.56 millimeter AR-15.
And have entertainment.
Rack the slide. It will chamber around. It will attempt to go into battery. And it will fire. And then you will have a very, very bad day. So
because you will have because the case will rupture and the bolt will be being held partially open, which means you're going to get brass in your face.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you happen to
if you own both, be careful.
Yes, be careful. Be very careful about your ammo. A lot of people have recommended that you maybe color code your magazines. Do whatever you can to make certain that doesn't happen, because I want you guys to tune into my stream next time. I don't want to hear about you guys being on the firearms blog because boy, they had one recently of somebody's.
Don't generate any old man stories.
Right, that's our job.
Yeah. Yeah. The smart man learns from his mistake. The wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Be wise. It's less painful than smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are liking rarity, particularly with the goggles. Yeah.
Yay! Good.
Hey, Retro.
The goggles just seemed like
she's looking fabulous.
Exactly, it's her job.
Yep. We have more Welsh rules. Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game number 206. Mr. Welsh cannot forge a +1 sword of Brad's mid-maxed paladin monk slaying. No, only the game master gets to do that. Yeah, that's another thing I need to get off my butt and do. It's like I need to finish drawing the map for the D&D game and then get started. Get that show on the road.
I'm gonna get around to rolling out my character.
Yeah.
my archer.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll be my that's my request for say for next hour. Draw him.
Draw my archer?
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
request.
That-
That's my vote anyway.
Okay.
And this is where I'm going to stack the deck here. Baron, so we have a Dungeons and Dragons game coming up, and Baron's going to play a deer who is sort of a ranger. Well, not a ranger, an archer. More on the military side of say of the archery practice than the hunter stalker side. It's going to be a deer, and so I think we should make Baron draw him. That's what I think. But then again, that's just my opinion. Hand. But we'll see what happens next hour.
Hint.
Hand. Let's see.
How much time do I have left? I have 15 minutes. Okay. Time to move on to some more stuff here.
Yep.
I'm sorry, the stream keeps freezing up on you there, Deathlight.
Yeah, well, it's staying green here, so yeah.
I mean, it's a local effect.
Right, so Prowl has a question about how about whether or how leather boots like that with that constriction just above the hoof. You couldn't exactly pull them on.
No, I'm assuming there's some kind of zipper effect I need to actually put in. There's some kind of seam that you have to put in that basically you can unzip this, makes it a lot more...
Or it's a two-piece or something.
Exactly. Yeah, because you have to have something, because unlike a hand, you can't do...
Yeah. The other thing is that leather doesn't stretch well.
No, it does not. So, yeah,
that's why leather has to be fitted to the person in order to get shiny butts.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And that's why I figured there has to be some kind of zipper mechanism, something like that, to make it a little bit larger so you can slip it over and then zip it closed, and then it gets snug.
Yeah, you can make a movie about your character, call it The Deer Hunter.
Oh.
Coming back from Suetnam.
Elephant Ex-Gladiator. Yeah, that was my wife's idea for one.
That was for a different game.
Different game, yeah.
Yeah, this game there are no elephants.
Yep.
It's a specific list because if it works out, I want to publish it as a
module.
As it was a setting.
Yeah. And that's
as a campaign source book, yeah.
Yep. And that's not something that the game is allowing for.
Well, it's a different kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to do an online D&D 3.5 game, but it turned out that Roll20.net is just too much of a pain in the butt to set up for me to put the time into to set up.
The setup for the return is not there.
Yeah. I do things old school, tabletop, miniatures, dice.
Pencil, paper, things.
Kicking it old school. Oh, things Mr. Welsh is no longer to do in a role-playing game number 233. If Mr. Welsh is the med tech, it is generally assumed that Mr. Welsh is going to actually have a skill in medicine. Well, you know.
I have a tin of Band-Aids.
It's kind of like Doc Weathers in Fallout 4. You know, you can ask him, are you really a doctor? And he's like, what, you want to bleed to death or what? Always with the questions.
Right. Does your character generally get better if you go to the doc? Doc Weathers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, it's Fallout 4. It's 200 years after the bombs dropped. There are no medical schools. Basically, what he is he is a peddler of various medicinal and sometimes not medicinal drugs, but but he can fix you up. Let's see.
That's kind of like, people think about, well, doctors, you go to college and everything like that, and, it's a very prestigious thing. In the 19th century, medical school was considered a step down from university. It was not as recognized as a profession as we now know today.
Grand Moff, there will be one more request slot at 8:30. I'm sort of stacking the deck here, but we'll see what happens. So, who knows? You may come up with something that so tickles Baron's fancy that he will jump all over it.
And I get the final arbitrator, so he can talk as much as he wants about
and I do.
Deer Archer. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go with his request.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
I know.
That's part of the rules of engagement.
Indeed. Yeah, there you go. Corwin had a ranger that had no... Back in D&D 3.5, move silently and hide in shadows were two different skills. So you can have skills in one and not the other. Had a ranger rogue multi-class that had no skill and moved silently, but had 20 ranks in hide. That's a lot. Literally rolled a 20 in the middle of combat, and the enemy thought I had teleported away somewhere. Yeah, there is actually a level 13, I believe it is, feat in Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 called Hide in Plain Sight. That's basically fall flat, say, and think like a rock.
Well, I have to admit, of course, I wasn't in combat at the time when it happened, but there was a number of times in paintball where I just went flat on the ground, and I was not in cover high enough to actually conceal me. And people walked into the area and visually swept at eye level. Didn't see me and kept on going.
Yep.
And it's like, wow. The same as looking up.
Well, again, it's the difference between what you expect to see and what you actually see. And if you expect something and you get something vaguely like it, you're not going to look for what you don't. Yeah. Again, when Plan B is the correct plan and Plan A will get you killed, people still fixate on Plan A. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things when Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Number 262, when the GM forces the plot, I cannot make choo-choo noises. That's because it's called railroading. You know. Of course, the opposite of that is sandboxing, but sandboxing leads to, let me put it this way, you're not going to get much in the way of deep dungeon delves or intricate plots because they can't be planned in advance, and the game master is going to try to keep one step ahead of you, but that generally doesn't allow for 10 steps ahead or, again, or deep planning, etc. So there are a few game masters out there that can do that. They are gods among men.
Especially when the Pegasus ponies all take off in different directions.
You'll notice why. One of the things I do in my post-apocalyptic game is something very similar to what Kakat did in Fallout Equestria. In Fallout Equestria, he removed Pegasi from the game, as it were. There was only the one. You know, that was, what was his name?
Oh, Calamity.
Calamity, yes. Yeah. And all the others, you know, were above the clouds and never came down. That way, the party had to stay on the ground. What I did was said, okay, based upon having seen what we saw in, you know, the episode with Tyrek where he stole flight magic. Oh, ponies can't fly without some sort of flight magic. And the apocalypse was a magic-related disaster in my game. And so basically, the flight magic was no longer, the magic in the air was no longer able to sustain flight. You could glide. You could fly the old-fashioned way if you were a light bird, you know, that weighed, 5 pounds and had a 6-foot wingspan. If you were a Pegasus pony, you had the glide path of, a Cessna, like 10 to 1. And in very strong updraft conditions, you could actually gain, you could do what cheap gliders do. I mean, in a Cessna 172, I've actually done a little, I've cut it back to idle, and I've actually done a little bit of gliding along, a ridge under strong winds, and I was able to sustain altitude. That's rare. But that also keeps, the group from, scattering off. The Pegasi all go in different directions, leaving the Earth ponies and the unicorns are sitting around going, we're players too.
Cold Silver did mention Matt Colville's.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Colville is a harsh GM in that, you get what you deserve.
He's not a player killer.
No. The players take care of that.
Yeah.
But, again, if you make a bad decision, he will let it play through. Yeah, but he's got some really great ideas, and explains them very well.
Yes.
He's actually a lead game developer at one of the larger studios. So, yeah, as far as he's on the writing team, but yeah.
Was he involved in Last Left Behind or
Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Go down the list there. Yeah.
He's ready for next Vinyl Scratch concert.
Yeah.
Yep.
Indeed. Baron, do you ever read The Whiteboard?
Read The Whiteboard. Yeah, well, I have a whiteboard in my studio. I read it all the time. My wife leaves notes on it.
It's a webcomic.
I know.
Yeah.
That's me being a smartass, but yeah,
You're a
no,
butt.
I'm not.
You're a butt.
He said bat.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt Colville is great. There is a channel, How to Be a Great Game Master, and a parallel channel, How to Be a Great Player, that I support on Patreon. That the guy is, his actual name is Guy, is very entertaining. Goes in depth, just great ideas. I've been game mastering as long as D&D has existed, literally since 1976, and I'm still getting tips from these guys. They're good. Of course, Matthew Mercer has become the poster child for D&D. He did a lot of he's a voice actor, and all of his fellow players are voice actors. God, what a live stream that makes! If you've heard of Critical Role, ROLE, yeah, that's him. Easy on the eyes too.
Yeah,
but
he is the elf.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently he hates that.
Yeah, but he's taken his game world and is publishing it now. But yeah, he's got a lot of really good tips. And of course, just watching him game master, and he's again a talented voice actor. He was the voice of McCready in Fallout 4, and I forget the name, the Clint Eastwood type character in Overwatch. I'm sure you get some Overwatch players to tell you this. Yeah, that's some of his work. But yeah, he's also has a lot of good game mastering tips, largely social. Focused on the social things around the game. What are the unspoken rules? What's the contract between, the GM and the player? How do you de-escalate arguments? That kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Prowo, Pegasus Flight inherent to Pegasi. Go watch what Tyrek did.
Yeah.
If it's it may be inherent, but it was taken away. And what about Scootaloo? I think that the reason that Scootaloo can't fly, while bulk biceps with the same size wings and 100 times more weight can, is that flight is largely a magical process, and the wings give you control, and are sort of the focus for it. But when that magic is taken away, you ain't flying.
That's how it works in my Dreamscape.
Yeah, and that's how it worked in my game there, because it helps to keep the characters more or less under control. It's for game balance. So you had stamina points which recovered at the end of the day, and Pegasi could spend them to gain altitude. They could also hover in ground effect as much as they wanted. That much of the magic yet remained, but that kept them in range, of course, of melee, et cetera, et cetera. The idea was you don't break up the party, and remember that getting that in a post-apocalyptic world, scouting and getting there is half of the game, and having characters that can just fly willy-nilly anywhere they want completely, removes that aspect of the game, and in my opinion, cripples it.
But if you're only flying about 10 or 20 feet off the ground, you're in the easy 12-gauge range.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the other hand, if you have an incredibly powerful, bull named T-Bone, in the say, who has agreed to temporarily accompany the party, what he will essentially do is buck you 50, 100 feet up,
yep,
as it were. So like the bucking bronco, the bucking bull, and then quickly spread your wings at 50 feet, and then you get 500 feet of gliding.
Yep.
Of nice, silent, owl-like gliding, and you know that they're there when all of a sudden, the 30-30 Winchester is shooting at you from above, and then you glide off into the night, and then the Marauder ponies, they're not happy.
All right. Well, we got this thing kind of.
Yep.
Apparently,
the pony, the punk, rarity is divine, darling.
Oh well, if I will state right now, if anybody here just absolutely loves the punk rarity, here contact me after the stream, and this will be going up for sale on the Smudge Marks Engel Works site eventually. But if you want to jump the gun, let me know and talk to me.
Yep.
Well, we switch cameras.
Indeed. There you go. Being a D&D 3.5 player is how you learn to role play, by troll and error. Yeah.
Okay, well, we are going to take our last break. And then we'll be back. We'll do one last request, and then we have tuna steaks waiting.
We do. All right. Hey, Art Hobbit. Yeah, just in time for the break. Excellent timing.
Yep.
All right. 5 minutes. Go get a drink. Go get rid of a drink. Go stretch. Go stretch.
I will stretch.
See you in 5.
See you then.
And we're still here too, Sylvan. Hi.
Yep.
I
And we're in for our last hour.
Axe, I am with you. Axe, you have me.
And
You have my dwarf.
yes, going through the list of people in the chat and everything. Holly McIntosh, I think you've been here before. If you have, welcome back.
Holy Macintosh.
McIntosh. Yes, if you are, welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome to the stream. I'm Baron. This is
I'm not.
And we do this usually every other Saturday night, but for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be doing this, and for the last 2 weeks before that. Yeah, we're doing this for, kind of a marathon session.
Exactly. We're going to have a special guest next week. We'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah.
All righty. So, this is the last of our 4-hour chunks. This is going to be a request thing. Hold on to the request. Not yet.
Not yet. I haven't said yet. Wait for it.
Not your own character. That's not a request. That's a commission.
Talk to me after the stream.
Safe for work, or at least vaguely so. Be a good sport if you don't get yours chosen. And if Baron does draw your request, that doesn't mean that you own the piece of art. But if you do want to get it, you can go ahead and contact him afterwards. But yeah, it'll certainly get posted up on his DeviantArt account anyway.
Yep. And yes, I have to agree with Engineer Sam. The Lego Batman was an excellent movie.
It was
Far better than I thought it was going to be.
It surprised a lot of people. So again, pony, furry, anime, whatever,
Yeah.
So are we ready to go?
Yes, I think we're ready.
We can do our duty. We can do our fiduciary duty later on.
Yes.
All right. Requests. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah, and about 20 seconds later, it's going to be.
Yes.
All righty.
Wait for it.
Pushbull Larabont, good old Prowo. A snarky waiter presenting an Andor dancing bottle to a table. Monsieur, your mouth is served.
Yes.
Anthro Sassy Saddles in the denim miniskirt and high heels. She does have that look to her.
Yes.
Anthro Moondancer modeling a swimsuit. Patina directing. Rosemary Parker meeting Jessica Knight. Yeah, we've seen that before. Yeah. Mash from Fate, Grand Order. Request, a ferret or a weasel belly dancer. More Rosemary. Carousel riding a carousel. Extreme ponies. Scootaloo in a snow sled, Suicide Run. Shere Khan from Tailspin, Gender Flipped. Bunny Girl Octavia, Rosemary modeling in a Billy Ann's costume.
Bettina de Mouse is a bat pony, or the bat mouse.
Your dear character. Spider Fairy, I think a miniature Drider. It's basically a spider tar.
Applejack in a cocktail dress. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. Let's see.
Oh. Okay.
Somebody's brain just flatlined here.
Okay.
We may have a winner.
Yeah. Basically, someone's going to have to beat AJ in a cocktail dress. Come on, folks.
Walking Dead, Anthrospicus, Humdrum, Changeling Patina, Renamon, Bikini French maid outfit on Pinkie Pie, Applejack in a cocktail dress from JJ. Yes. Too low nose art of Luna, Master Tigress.
Applejack, a hard cider, and a big smile.
Birdie the Mighty,
Yeah.
Dr. Hood style Dalek or Cyber Pony.
Patina, plastic hamster ball. I need to post the sketches, but
Applejack with a hard cider and a big smile and a cocktail dress.
yeah.
Twilight Sparkle meets Gobo Fraggle. It's a Warforged from Eberron RPG. It's basically
Okay, I got another vote for the cocktail
sentient
dress.
golems, yeah.
I'm good with AJ in the cocktail. Okay. It's AJ in the cocktail dress, it is.
All right. Derpy in a cocktail dress. AJ and Derpy in a cocktail dress. Just one. Oh, wait a minute.
That'd be an awfully stretchy
I just
dress.
don't know what went wrong.
Yeah. Awfully stretchy dress.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're.
All right. So next question is Anthro or Foreleg.
Yeah. Here's the question: do we want AJ in an Anthro, or do we want her in show style?
Anthro. Bulk bicep. No. Anthro. Yeah.
Anthro. I think we Anthro. Yeah, I think we have a consensus here.
The 2 legs good have one.
Yes.
All right.
We did 4 legs last time. We're doing 2 legs this time.
I'm going to push a button.
Okay. And I'm going to change my glasses.
And I'm going to do our hourly duty.
Dirty.
All right. We are going to take this opportunity now to say thank you to our sponsor, who is University Art. University Art is a high-end art supplies and framing store with branches in Redwood City and San Jose and Sacramento, California. They have a very knowledgeable staff, and their framing is of museum archival quality. That means you do the framing now, 100 years from now, your art is still protected. Though after 100 years, who cares?
It's someone else's problem at that point.
Yeah. Although they have handled original Rembrandts and original Picassos, original Nobel Prize award letters, serious business. They also have a very knowledgeable sales staff. They do instruction, they do seminars, they do craft fairs. Basically, it's more than just come here buy art supplies. It really is part of the artistic community.
Okay, now here's a question people are throwing out. Do we want, now AJ is going to have fingers on her arms, but do we want to have her to have hooves or feet?
What about these guys right here? Yeah.
And Toxic Mario has arrived.
Hey, Toxic.
Welcome to the stream.
Indeedy.
Okay, we got one for feet.
Yeah. And one last, thank you for to University Art. They're lending us their Jeff next weekend, who is an expert in Egyptian tomb painting. He's going to be using period techniques and period materials on papyrus.
Hooves, feet, hooves for feet and our hands. Okay, hooves with stiletto heels. Hooves. Okay, hooves. All right. Hooves for her lower legs.
All right. Hey, Toxic, how's it going? That was for the feet, Agni. Hoofy. Tentacles! Thank you, Toxic. It's Applejack as a Cthulhu monster. But a very charming one. Or like that weird dual tentacle tongue Applejack thing that a few artists draw. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're voting on. Now, basically Baron's doing a request stream tonight, Toxic, and the winner was Applejack in a cocktail dress. It's going to be Anthro, and it's been decided that her feet are...
Her lower legs have hooves, not feet.
Right, not human-type feet.
Right.
She is ungulate, not plantigrade. Yeah, Cthulhu Jack. Mungung fugniga sungtin rile go futepa. Yee howdy.
Tazid.
Tatzel Jack, yeah.
Tatzel Jack.
Or the tassel worm, yeah.
Tassel worm, which is canon in the MLP universe now. Because Book Horse and Love Horse.
Oh, the tentacles like the princess in Drawn Together. Yes, I remember that, Pinky. I remember the horror of the tentacles in Drawn Together. Who, by the way, Princess Clara in Drawn Together, who had the tentacles in that place, was voiced by this person you may have heard of, Tara Strong. A little bit of crossover there. It all comes together.
Yeah, well, Tara is a force in the voice acting business.
Who'd make a better Cthulhu? Not Nightmare Moon. Nightmare Moon is all about style. Remember the Nightmare Moon future in
End of season 5.
End of season 5. Yeah, she had a pretty styling, if authoritarian, community there. Kingdom going there. Yeah.
She wanted to rule something. She didn't want a chaotic wasteland.
Exactly.
Nothing to rule then.
Exactly. So I mean, of all the dark futures, it's like, well, that one was the one that certainly had the best architecture. Now, if anyone was going to be a Cthulhuid,
Apple Bloom.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she already had her shot at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, No spoiler on my Dreamscape, but well, there's a reason why she's now also one of her nicknames is she's the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Yellow Dun incurred wrath mortal. Castlejack. Yeah. So what you been up to, Toxic? Lollipop Sparkle. Yes, I have seen mashups of Lollipop Chainsaw, in which Tara Strong voiced a
Cheerleader.
a cheerleader
Zombie killer.
who specialized apparently in chainsaws, cutting off her boyfriend's head, then carrying it around while he wisecracked around on, while his head's tied to her waist, and upskirt shots.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very silly game.
Yeah. Cheerleader and professional zombie hunter.
Yes, and you just dub that to Twilight Sparkle, and hilarity ensues. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game number 335. When installing cyberware, Mr. Walsh cannot install the clapper as a built-in the clapper. My mind is dirty. The clapper as a built-in feature. Well, or the clapper either.
Yeah. I was going to say there now.
Clop off, but anyway.
Clop off, wipe off.
You're dirtier than me.
Non-slick floor.
Yep. Rule 354. Tricking the party into killing each other off and then turning in their corpses for the bounty is frowned upon, Mr. Welsh. But it's path to profit.
Yes. Profit.
Oh God, Toxic!
I like you,
Toxic
Quark.
did the class reunion thing. So how many people showed up and rented Ferraris? I have never been invited to one of my class reunions because they didn't know whether I was class of 80 or class of 81. I graduated high school in 3 years. Took all the 22 required courses in 3 years. They actually tried to give me a GED instead of a real diploma. My mom would have none of that. It's like, no, nowhere in the rules does it say 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't end up in the yearbook because they didn't know where to put me. And I've never been invited to a class reunion because they use the yearbook as the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've never been asked either.
That's it. But then again,
Eh.
my high school was hell. I would like to see it burned in fire, and then use a toxic waste dump site. Nothing personal, Toxic. Because it was sheer hell, and the principal was an asshole who let the swim team do whatever they want as long as it didn't elevate to calling the police, because he liked his trophies and they were the state champions and they could get away with anything short of murder.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not enjoy my high school. I graduated at age 16 because I wanted out.
Mm-hmm.
Went off to community college. God, what a difference. People were there because they wanted to be there.
Yep.
What a concept. It was alien to me.
Yeah, it was interesting when I left high school and started going to college. Also, the fact that I started taking it a lot more seriously because I was paying for this now. And, I'm spending money on this. You're going to high school, you're going to elementary school, junior high, well, you have to go. Now it's like, I'm paying for this, so I want my money's worth. It's funny how it changes your viewpoint on it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Well, the other thing is this whole bit about school spirit and, as in class reunions, it's an attempt to trigger tribal style loyalties artificially.
Mm-hmm.
No, those people were not my tribe.
Meh.
No, my tribe were my friends, not my classmates.
Yep.
Things which Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Rule 360. Mr. Welsh must remind the GM that his blessed can raise dead before he runs another murder mystery again. I don't quite get that one.
No.
Parsing it. But anyway, he says class reunion was a 10-year one. Only 4 people he saw showed up, but his class was only 60 people, so who graduated. It was a small school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine was not a small school.
Oh, it was a junior ROTC all-male school.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably some of them are in the Navy.
Yep. Do we give her gloves or we keep her arms bare?
Hmm.
And do we give her?
I would give her bangles with little apple charms.
Yeah, like bracelets and things like that.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah,
too,
or maybe the cutie marker for a special sun pony. Or whoever it is she wants to tease the hell out of anyway.
yeah.
Track and country coach, track and cross country coach, who is also his chem teacher and guidance counselor is there. Apparently, yeah. My favorite high school teacher was my astronomy teacher, who I actually ran into at the community college. He taught the same course at community college as well in the evenings. So he was a good guy.
I have to admit, my favorite instructor in high school was the lady who was in charge of the art department. Gee, no surprise. But she was also the one who every year would go to bat for why I should continue getting the scholarship for weekend students at Art Center College of Design in Pasadena. So a lot of why I am here today is because that lady went to bat for me numerous times so I could get my chance.
Yeah, biker gloves. There you go, work gloves. Trying to spice up my duds.
I figure I'm just gonna give her like kind of like slip-on boots to go or shoes to go over her hose. A little bit of color accessory, and it keeps her from scuffing up the floor.
Yeah, so Rebel is just curious as to who could have possibly convinced Applejack to do that. Well, remember that Applejack spent some time in Manhattan, which she was able to call upon in
simple ways.
Simple ways, yeah. Yeah, and you know, she was able to channel that. She remembered, you know, all the
lessons.
Again, she remembered how to be, you know, part of the Orange family and the socialite scene. She just rejected it. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game number 374. He is not allowed to combine the advantage fearless and the disadvantage curious in the same character ever again. Are you paying attention, Cat's Paw? I mean trouble. I mean Cat's Paw. No curious gremlins, yeah. Yeah. So Toxic says, yeah, there's, you know, literally no one, you know, that, yeah, he say that no more teachers from even his 2007 class that are still there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thinking back on the people in high school, I went to a fairly large high school. Had about 3,000 students. Mm-hmm. Pretty good size. Who would I want to say hi to again? My first girlfriend, Michelle. Yeah. Just to see how she's doing. Well, there was Dan, but Dan was fascinated with Japanese culture and language, learned how to speak Japanese very fluently, got hired by Sony, moved to Japan to teach English, married a Japanese girl, and apparently has quite a large family now, last I heard. There was Robert Funk, who died of a very sudden brain aneurysm at age 38, just walking down the street, bam!
Lights out?
Like an anvil fell from the sky.
Wow.
Let's see. Anybody else? Well, there's Mike and Roxanne, who I would love to see in a crosswalk in front of me. I would happily run them over. They were the bane of my existence. Let's see. Anybody else? Not really. Well, I wouldn't mind saying hi to Professor Loken again, but given the relative ages, I don't think he's still around. You know, he would be in his 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miss Phillips was approaching retirement age when I was graduating in 1983, so I'm pretty certain that she has shuffled off this mortal coil. She's no longer with us.
Probably, I don't recall whether was Manhattan actually mentioned by name in.
I think it was
in Simple Ways. In simple, I mean,
Oh.
in simple ways, did they say Applejack knows how to do this because of her time in Manhattan?
No,
I don't recall.
No, it would be basically because of the season 1 Cutie Mark Chronicles when
Yeah, but the question is that was it mentioned
no,
in simple ways
I don't think
that
it was.
Applejack has her dress up skills because of that?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
It also could. I mean, Rarity probably rubbed off on her a little bit.
Oh, hush, Orca. Orca's going to be 38 next year. To be 38 again.
Yeah, be under 40. Man, I remember.
I remember a few classmates say always made me want to shove a screwdriver through their eardrums. Yeah. More satisfying that way. Mr. Anderson, you're starting to get under my skin. Yes.
Time, okay, I'm still doing pretty good.
Toxic, absolutely yes. He says his dad told him you will have more lifelong friends from your time in college than from your time in high school.
Yeah.
Absolutely yes. Remember, one big thing to remember about college is that everybody's there because they want to be, not because they're being forced to be.
Yeah.
The other thing is that people who are of high school age are still deciding who the hell they are.
Mm-hmm.
By college age, they're starting to come to a conclusion there. Because again, somebody may be one type of person in high school and another type completely in 5 years, completely unrecognizable. The changes tend to be slower once you start to get a good solid idea of who you are and what you want out of life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like my realization of a lot of my tastes and preferences in music and songs I remember very fond of are more from my years in college than my years in high school.
Yeah, I wasn't really much into music in let's say in high school. Well, put it this way, I was, but it wasn't popular music. At least not with everybody else. I was into Electric Light Orchestra, Alan Parsons Project, stuff like that. While everybody else was, Foreigner, Led Zeppelin,
Van Halen.
I think Van Halen was they 70s or more of an 80s?
They're more of an 80s. They were a thing when I was in high school. I learned to like them in college, but like I said, it was just very interesting. It was the equating it to my freedom, and I could do things, in particular because I had a car at that point. And it was an awful lot of songs I remember very fondly because of things that happened in my car.
Yep. And we'll draw the curtain of charity over that unless you draw it.
Yeah. But there's an awful lot of I remember this song fondly. I always wanted to get one of these cars. It was a great car. No, it's not really it was a great car. It's because great things happened in the car that you remember.
Yeah.
And some of them are perfectly well and things you can talk about in public and everything, but just still, you have to remember you end up putting an awful lot of memories and you put a lot of emotions into inanimate objects through indirect.
Let's see.
These stool legs actually look like stool legs. Yes, I'm using a ruler. No, it's not cheating.
Oh, I have an answer to that, Toxic. You'll like this. Toxic wants to know, what was the most badass car you can remember somebody ever driving up with daily? And were they a cool kid or a random kid? The answer to that is Reverend Frank Mills. Frank was the son of a very rich vineyard owner. This is Lodi. Lodi, there was two classes of people. There was rich vineyard owners and there was the poor people who picked the grapes. There's about 3 middle-class families. We were one of them. Reverend Frank was never going to have to worry about money in his life. We called him Reverend Frank because he would just always start food fights by standing up in the middle of the cafeteria and saying, "Bless the sweat on the farmer's brow that has brought us this grand repast." He never got any farther than that before the food started flying. We were a food fight school. He had, it was like a 1960-ish, I think it was an Impala, faded blue, that was called the Joy Car because it was a rolling liquor store. The giant trunk, he'd open it up and there were ice chests always full of booze because his dad kept bailing him out. That was Reverend Frank. That was the most badass car.
The most badass, there was actually two of them from my high school that I remember. One was a 1966 Chevelle. I never got a clear answer what exactly the guy had for an engine in there, but he had a blower and everything. The other one was two guys on our yearbook staff. They were identical twins, Kevin and Peter Talpash, and their dad, for one of them, for their 17th birthday, and of course this tells you how much, the muscle car scene has changed since then and everything. His dad had a friend who had this old Mustang in his garage and said, hey, do you want to fix this thing up for your son? It's in pretty good shape, but it needs some work and everything. And his dad went up and went, sure. And it was a 1966 Ford Mustang. Had the 289 in it, but it had a whole lot of non-stock parts, and we didn't really understand in high school what was the whole big deal about saying Shelby on the side.
Yeah, that became special later.
Yeah, he had a 66 Shelby Mustang, and I remember riding in the back seat of that thing and us going down the 605 freeway at a stupid speed. Not as bad as me and one of my classmates, Kevin, did in his 1968 Firebird, where we blew down the 405 freeway at about 3 a.m. in the morning with ZZ Top's LaGrange blowing out of the speakers with the windows rolled down at 130 some odd miles per hour. It was like, whee!
Yeah. One of my buddies was all about Mustangs also. His dad was.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about show Mustangs, like 100-point concourse.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Fergie, Brian Ferguson. Fergie had a dark green Metaflake, Mustang 289. It was a 1966. I was taught all that. This is a 66, this is a 65, this is a 64 and a half. Here's how you tell the difference. Here's why spoke spinner hubcaps are special. Oh my God. Couldn't stand it. I was a Mopar guy because I had a Plymouth Duster, and now I drive a Mustang. Yeah, go figure. But yeah, as far as the most badass car I ever rolled up in high school in front of, that was a Ferrari 308. Because my mother was an accountant at a Ferrari dealership for about 3 years. And they let me borrow the 308 exactly once. Don't worry, I didn't wreck it. But yeah, they let me, drive in front of the high school with it. Hey, like, Lance, what the hell? So.
Coolest car I ever got a chance to routinely drive was 1976 Gran Torino with a 351 Cleveland in it. The coolest car I ever got to drive for more than just a couple blocks here, get out of the driver's seat, it's my turn, besides your Mustang, was I had a roommate who had a Buick Regal. He had an 87 Buick Regal Turbo. Now, some of you guys who may know about Buicks may be aware of a thing called the Grand National, which was a really cool Darth Vader's Buick, all black, with black center hub wheels and black paint job and black interior. Well, you could get that package in just a regular Buick, which made for quite a sleeper car because it looked like, some guy's going to show up at the golf club with it. And it didn't have the cachet, but one of my roommates got a hold of one of those and then spent a little bit of extra money because he found out he could put the intercooler on there. And put the intercooler, and we had a sleeper of a car. And it was one summer where he went back to go visit his folks, and he dropped his car off at the service dealer to get some work done, and they couldn't get it done before he left. He said, "Okay, Baron, here's the keys. You can pick the car up when they say it's done. I've already contacted them, give them the green light. It's all good. They know what's happening. You can drive the car. I swear to God, if you ruin the tires or wrap the thing around pole, I'm going to kill you when I come back." So I didn't do that, but that was such a fun car that weekend to go drive. And I figured he wouldn't notice at least one good hefty burnout.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can figure out how that ends. See you later, Art.
Take care.
Yeah. High school. Did I ever get I never got a speeding ticket in high school. I wrecked my car in high school.
Never got a speed ticket
But I
either.
never got a speeding ticket.
Got pulled over rolling a red.
In college at Chico, they took away my license because, well, there was that time I got 3 speeding tickets in one day.
Was this with the Mustang or with,
Oh no,
with the Volkswagen?
the Vorpal Bunny.
Yes, your
Yeah,
awesome purple bunny.
My 180 horsepower VW Rabbit in awful peeling orange, faded paint. Yeah, that was a cop magnet. Yeah, that's actually something that's kind of funny. The fellow that I had a buddy, Doug, and Doug loved to drive, but didn't own a car. He was technically a pretty good driver. Didn't have as much traffic sense because again he didn't drive much, but but he understood the mechanics of driving pretty well. Again, we would do the Chico Loop, which was basically a big long mountain highways up into the Sierra Nevada and back, and we do it for time in the middle of the night. And the fastest time I ever turned in was 2 hours 5 minutes. That was in my car, but not with me driving. That was with Doug driving. Best I did was 2 hours 15. But actually, I got back in contact with Doug not too long ago. He's going to be in the D&D game.
Cool.
Reason back in contact with Doug? Amending fences. Real world applicability, man. Real world applicability. Well,
Okay.
well, toxic. You get 3 tickets in one day, basically by not learning your lesson and cooling it.
Yeah. Good night,
Yeah.
Rebel. Thanks for joining us tonight.
See ya. So getting a ticket, one ticket, in the morning. I got the ticket in the morning in Chico because I was, whomping along at about 75 down Highway 99, which is 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Got another one up in Redding, for basically doing about 80 on I-5, which was 65 speed limit. Then I got one the same day for doing about 75 in a 55 zone in Chico on Highway 99. From the same cop that had written me up earlier. Said, "You just don't learn, boy, do you?" He was right. So
why do I hear the Van Halen song "I Can't Drive 55" playing in my head all of a sudden?
Yeah,
and then the judge throwing the book at you.
I got to stand in front of hanging Judge Rutherford. Now, they didn't take away my license for that. That was for the next 2 speeding tickets that came like 3-4 months later on. I just accumulated too many in a year, and they said, "Son, y'all ain't doing that." Then I moved down to the Bay Area right about then, and got a job, and then I discovered there was one of those tickets that I forgot to pay. And they took my car away from me, and they towed it, and I had to pay $700 to get it out of Hawk, and then I had to go down to Coalinga, and I'd have to stand in front of the judge and say I'm stupid, and the judge said, "Yes, you're right," and it was my.
If been $700 back then, would have been a fair chunk of change to get your car back.
It's not comfortable now.
No, it's not. But dang, that'd be a fair chunk of a paycheck.
Yeah.
More messages below.
Could be toxic. Could be. Now, our whole thing with back then was we had a map of Chico and vicinity from AAA, the road company, the tow truck service company. They've got really high quality maps, and we wanted to drive every single road within 50 miles of Chico, and we did. Every last one.
Grand Moff Pony has a question. If you could, for 2 hosts, if there was any place you could travel to see a musician.
Well, here's the thing. For me, I'm not a big fan of stadium rock because it's almost you know, I mean, it's its own kind of experience, but it's not about you and the band, and, you know, connecting with the band.
Yeah, I'd want to see a more small, intimate setting. It's like the Little Fox Theater or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that was where I got to see Thomas Dolby with less than 100 people. Saw that actually with Cat's Paw. You know, again, it was his first concert back after like 10 years of not touring, and so he did a little tiny concert, and it was fantastic. It was there was such a good connection. You know, and again, Cat's Paw was a bit. He'll be able to tell his own stories about that. And other roommate Brian, he and I saw B.B. King there. You know, again, we were on a table that was literally right next to the stage, and that was a nice show.
There was a small club in downtown San Jose. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. I'm having a senior moment, but I remember seeing Blue Oyster Cult in like
Cactus Club.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 1987, I saw the Blue Oyster Cult.
Were they as Blue Oyster Cult or
Yes.
Soft White Underbelly?
No, they were Blue Oyster Cult, and it was really something to be so close and listen to them play. It's like, oh, I gained new insight.
Rule 3, probably a good sport. Let's see. But as far as music, I'd like to go back in time to see. That's a hard question. Larry Fast would have been interesting. He's an electronic musician. Was behind Synergy. I would say Blue Oyster Cult, but I've seen Blue Oyster Cult. We saw him at Lake Tahoe. Again, it's just I'm ruling out stadium rock bands here. I don't know. It's a hard question.
The only one I might have wanted to see is a stadium, and I almost got a chance to do it as a kid. And it was back when they were the group I loved. It was back in like 1976. I was a huge Kiss fan, much to the horror of my parents. And they performed in LA at Dodger Stadium, and I wanted so badly to go see them, and just couldn't convince my parents to buy me a ticket, because my two other best friends at the time went and saw it and had a grand old time, and I'm all, darn it.
Standing in the rain with his head hung low, couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold-out show. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Actually, yes. So actually, I will remind you about the moment. Say, Mr. Cat's Paw. She blinded me with science, and then the entire audience goes science. And Dolby stopped the concert music for a second. I love you guys, because he's a total technophile himself. And then he continued the song, but yeah, he loves Silicon Valley. Yeah, so. Where is my rat? There's my rat.
You're a rat? You gonna rat on somebody?
Yeah, I'm gonna rat him out. I'm gonna rat him out. See?
Yeah, Muggsy. It's curtains, Muggsy. Curtains. Oh, they're beautiful. Oh.
All right, let's see here. Twilight Sparkle's favorite song. She blinded me with books. Can I my book? Horse,
Jarek,
book, horse.
Jarek, we've already done our last plug.
Yep, we did that at the top of the hour.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about that. We're good. And I got the
We're
right
more than
glasses on,
good.
too.
We're great. We're better than bad. We're good.
Yes. Everyone loves the lock. You ought to get a lock.
Let's see.
From Blammo, of course.
Yep. If if we are on music, what is literally the most expensive concert I've ever attended and instantly regretted it as soon as it got there? I haven't been to that many concerts, and everyone I've been to has at least been okay. Closest would be the concert actually that Cat's Paw and were you with us when we went to South Lake Tahoe?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, that was Grand Funk Railroad and REO Speedwagon and Joe Walsh, and two of the three were great. The Grand Funk Railroad one was actually just Mark Farner, and he was so into his own ranting and raving and political. You got to do this about Tibet, you got to do this about Irian Jaya, and he was just stalking back and forth on the stage, lecturing us, and we could have all gotten up and walked out, and he wouldn't have noticed because he was so into himself. Very disappointing. REO Speedwagon was okay. Joe Walsh from the Eagles, fantastic. That man knows how to put on a show. Yeah, yeah, and he was still had his young lady groupies, and I will bet you anything he did not sleep alone that night.
My Maserauti's 185. They took my license, now I don't drive. That sounds
I
like...
have a limo right in the back. I lock the doors in case I'm attacked.
There used to be back when there was a radio station called KOME 98.5 in San Jose, which is now KFOX. There was a recording that one of their DJs had. He was at Joe Walsh, and that song came up, Life's Been Good For Me. And he got to the point, I have a limo, and he goofed on the line. He says, I hide in the trunk in case I'm attacked. And everybody just lost it in the stands.
Yeah. Now, Joe Walsh, he is very much, the jester of the Eagles. I mean, like while Don Henley and
Glenn Frey
were at each other's throats. Apparently, at the last Eagle concert before they broke up for a long time, it's like 3 songs until I kick your ass, Henley. 2 songs until I bust your teeth, Fry. Hotel California. And then the band went their separate ways for years and years and years and years. And remember, when they said that they would get back together when Hell Froze Over, well, they released an album 20 years later called Hell Freezes Over.
Yep.
But but Joe Walsh always stayed above it. He was always the one saying, "Look, guys, let's have a good time. Let's go find some Central American herbs to enjoy ourselves with, and there's all these young ladies out here who want to be with us. Why are you arguing?" So yeah, he certainly has the showmanship and the right attitude. Good night, JJ.
Thanks for dropping by.
And he will note you later about that AJ pick and the commission.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Love hearing from you.
Oh, here comes another back of Wawa. Wah, 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 wah. Until the Hell Freezes Over tour. Has anyone here ever called into a radio station?
Yes.
Yes.
Used to do it all the time with KOME. In fact,
don't touch KOME. Don't touch that dial.
Yes.
There's cum on it. $500 to the FCC in a fine every time they said it.
And with KOME, when I first moved up here, they were actually working. They weren't located over by where is now Santana Row. They were actually based out of an old Victorian in downtown San Jose, and you could actually just go down there and just hang out at the station. And I remember that was one of those, things from college. My life is different. I have this independence. Was going down with some guys and hanging out in the living room of KOME, and just sitting on a sofa and drawing while DJs were going in and out, and you were listening to it on a radio in the living room. It was very kind of like, oh, this is different. I never have done something in this in my life. This is a new experience.
That's a...
WCBS, late night.
Let me guess, Agni, security camera footage. Yeah. I won a couple of 6-packs of beer from, forget the call letters of the station, it was a Stockton station. I was underage, I didn't tell them that. When I was a kid, I called in to Bob Wilkins' Creature Features, and he had a game called TV POW, which was, you know, we're talking like, you know, Atari 2600 days, where you said POW when the little thing was wagging back and forth, and it would shoot when it heard your voice go POW, and you got points, and then I got like a Godzilla movie poster signed by Bob Wilkins.
Cool.
Who would sit in his chair and in this, you know, big old Victorian type chair and introduce monster movies, you know, to the kids while smoking a giant cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the days.
Yep. Yeah, AJ cleans up well. How much time? I got about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I left high school after 3 years. It's that type of thing.
Yep.
Yep, Nizuni. TV POW. Was the beer good? No, it was Bud. It was barely beer. Pour it back in the Clydesdale. It's not done yet. You should, Corwin. You should. He wants to name a Pony Alternative Universe What If series Elsemares. Saint Elsmere.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. TV POW thing of Batman. Yeah, we lost Adam West recently. God, what a class act he was.
Yep.
Now that was a man who knew how to treat his fans right.
I thought it was kind of a nice tribute. How many cities around the country, like a couple days after he died, they did a thing where they all beamed the bat signal on the side of big buildings or the clouds or anything like that. I'm going, yeah, if there's any on the air side and someone's looking at, you know, here you go.
Yeah. One of our buddies, I forget who, not Sean Wally, but one of our buddies has a picture that he took with Adam West about 5 years ago in San Diego Comic-Con, and Adam West is, you know, doing the fist thing, you know, on the guy's jaw, and the guy's going, oh, you know, and underneath he's got the caption, "Pow!"
Mm-hmm.
You know, it perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Medical drama, Payne's Gray Anatomy. Okay.
Oh, bathroom!
Okay,
Yes.
there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to get Payne's Gray Anatomy. You have to go back and read the early days of my Equestria Dreamscape to get the reference to Payne's Gray.
Yep, very early.
That
was before you. That was back when you hadn't worked out your pony style yet.
No, and I was still a unicorn. I hadn't turned into a Pegasus yet. Because I was turned into a unicorn because Payne's needed me to be a unicorn to be able to supposedly get his vengeance and justice on the Lord of Shadows.
Nozumi, no explicit sex or extreme fetishes, but I think it would be best if people just whispered you.
Yeah.
You know, if it's truly not safe for work. I mean, artistic nudes, fine. Biological functions being functioned, do it in whispers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, artistic nudes are fine. Just include a warning. Just say, you know, warning, naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warning, boobies.
Yeah. If we're dealing with hydraulic pressures, then no.
Things Mr. Walsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Number 566. When confronted with a haunted house with bleeding walls, he is not allowed to convert it into a self-supporting blood bank. But why?
Like,
It's
Carl.
profit.
Carl.
Yes, they do, Bravo. Yes, they do. They don't all have to be parodies. The parodies don't all have to be horse puns. Horse puns are universal.
Yes. That seems to be a thing in Equestria.
Yep. So, other rule in Zoom, you got to tell me. Got to whisper it to me. For quality control purposes. Yeah. But if it's on DeviantArt, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
I ain't going to pretend that I don't look at the naughties. Did we like our college radio station?
No.
It was lame. You know, they tried to do the public radio voice where you get right on top of the mic and sort of whisper into it as if you're making what they now call an ASMR, and you are oh so intimate with your viewers because you think that you're that guy in Sleepless in Seattle, but you're not. No, but our college radio station, basically everybody ignored it.
Yeah, same with ours.
It was basically what you did because you wanted to get your degree in communications.
Yeah. Well, once again, it was also a case of, are you going to play some music? No, you're just going to go on your screen. Okay, well, I'm going to change the channel.
I think Randy from college, another one of my buddies, I think he was a overnight DJ at one point, again, getting his degree in communications. He also ended up working at Fantasyland for exactly one day. Fantasyland was Chico's one and only adult bookstore. It was approximately 30 feet over the town limits, technically in county land, and it was the only adult novelty and bookstore there. And he got a job there and thought it would be fun until he realized that part of his job every night was hosing out the 25-cent peep show stalls. Mm-hmm. And then he quit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the kind of thing that people do some horrifying stuff in there.
Yes. All right.
Chico State has a radio station? That's about the reaction of everyone there. Yeah, Chico State is a computer science and a material science college, not a communications college.
All right. I actually got this guy, or gal. Sorry about that, AJ. More or less worked out in an hour. We'll push out here on the ground.
That's fine, St. Izumi. That's just fine. If we can have Big Mac sensor plushies, you can have little heart sensor thingies. Things Mr. Welsh is no longer allowed to do in a role-playing game. Number 580, a sledgehammer does not give any bonus to my search for secret doors rolls. I don't know about that.
All right. I think I'm going to call this.
You're going to call that AJ?
Yeah.
That is one nice little AJ there.
Buy her a drink.
Yeah, how?
Okay, why don't we switch cameras here?
How about I do?
Oh. And dinner smells are starting to wave up from below at lower levels, and it's starting to drive me nuts.
Remember, Nizumi, Baron does smush.
Yes.
So.
I do smush. I'm good at smush.
Smush.
Smush, smush, smush.
Holy crap, smush. Wait, what's the food tonight? Tuna steaks with a wasabi sesame miso crust.
And sides?
I'm not sure whether he is going to do the squash or the green beans, but ooh. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a mushroom rice pilaf involved.
Okay, I can work with that, and green beans would be awesome.
Yeah.
Green beans would be very, very awesome. So, is that legit? Totally. So I want to thank everybody here for tuning in tonight. And
been another good one.
It's been another good one. We're going to be doing this again next Saturday. The difference is I'm going to be sitting in that chair, and there's going to be a different artist sitting here. And let me tell you, he loves also old B and C grade horror films. He has all of the Hammer films on DVD. He loves the
the stuff that Lex Nakashima likes to make. Yeah.
Yes, the Peter Cushing, Crummy Mummy films.
Not quite dead teenager films.
And he watches the sci-fi bad Saturday movie every week.
Oh, nice.
So next week, you guys are going to get a chance to meet a man I've known for over 18 years. That's going to be Jeff Bramschweiber, and we are going to be doing Egyptian art here. He's going to be showing you how it all was done.
We'll make him do an Anubis and a Bast.
Yes, we'll see if we can talk him into that. And I want to thank all my patrons again on Patreon, because without your guys' support, this couldn't happen. It was because of your guys' support that in 2015 I was able to take the jump and do this now full time. And without you guys, I couldn't have done it. Also couldn't have done it without this guy's support. He talks about hammering on, pushing buttons and hammering on things, but seriously, having him fly co-pilot makes this happen. So you guys, all have a great evening, and we'll do this in exactly 7 days.
Hey, Luna Jax, your timing is perfect. You're right at the end of the show.
Oh, Luna Jax.
Oh, man.
Luna Jax, sometime we need to sync up. I would love to have something, maybe do a case of multi-stream and have Luna Jax basically making amazing music and me maybe drawing things sort of themed off what Luna Jax is doing, because boy, can he play the guitar. So, folks, it's good night. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you.
Everyone, go watch Luna Jax.
Go watch Luna Jax. He's awesome. And yeah, maybe I'll get in touch with you, and maybe we'll sync something up. It won't be for at least a few weeks, because the next 4 weeks for me are booked out solid on streams.
All righty. We'll catch you folks later.
Good night.